progress.
Vice Mayor and Council, we are live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Pasadena City Council. We will start with the calling of the roll.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Cole.
Present.
Councilmember Hampton.
Blessed and honored to be here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Lyon.
Here.
Councilmember Madison.
Here.
Councilmember Masuda.
Here.
Vice Mayor Rivas.
Here.
And Mayor Gordo is absent. There's a quorum of the council present.
And Councilmember Jones, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand if able. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
And I believe we are starting with a ceremonial item. Is Lola Osborne here, Deputy Director of Parks and Rec? Told me no.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members, Vice Mayor. Lola Osborne from the Parks Department. I want to thank you for having us here. I'd like to take a moment to introduce the Chair of the Human Relations Commission, Jonathan Horton, who will share what the Human Relations Trailblazer Award is and why we are here for ceremonial matters. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Horton, Chair of the Human Relations Commission. A few years ago, the Human Relations Commission started our Trailblazer Awards. We wanted to make sure that this was an annual award to honor the different trailblazers throughout Pasadena. These are people who have made a significant contribution in the past year or past few years to Pasadena, and it's not only limited to individuals, we also include organizations. And so, since I know I have a very short time limit, without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to former Chair of the Commission and current Commissioner Nat Nadar for the first presentation.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and City Council. It's a pleasure to be here. I know time is limited, so I'm going to try to be brief. I would like to introduce the recipient of 2016-2026 Pasadena Human Relations Commission Trailblazer, Mr. Ali Shir Mohammadi. Mr. Shir Mohammadi is the owner of Haider Baba Restaurant, one of the finest in San Gabriel Valley, and he has been a pillar for over 50 years in City of Pasadena in a positive manner. There's so much he has done. I'm just going to briefly helping homeless, shelters, religious organizations, events, foreign students, and the past 13 years, he has been hosting an annual appreciation luncheon for the Pasadena Police Department. Furthermore, he was named the Best Small Business in Pasadena in 2017 and was honored by Assembly member in Sacramento. Vice Mayor, if you'd be so kind, can you please join us?
Absolutely.
Give the flag to Mr. Shir Mohammadi and other winners, please. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ali Shir Mohammadi.
That's taller than I thought. Let's see. And for our next awardee, we have Miss Nikki High. Miss High, would you join us? Miss High, founder of Octavia's Bookshelf, which is a store dedicated to sharing stories and narratives written by writers who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. As founder, Ms. High centers the voices of authors from minority backgrounds and provides an avenue for Pasadenans to see their diverse experiences reflected in art. Through her store, she has created a space to celebrate identity, build community, and to nurture belonging Following the Eaton fire, she transformed her shop into a mutual aid station, offering water, food, clothing, and hygiene products to fire survivors. Nikki High's leadership has made Octavia's bookshelf an example for other local businesses in how to lead with values and provide nourishment for our local community. Thank you so much, Ms. High. And, sorry, I messed up my notes. There we go. And for our final awardee, the recipient is Altadena Girls. Altadena Girls, oh, sorry, Lauren, would you join us, please? Altadena Girls was founded by 14-year-old PUSD student Avery Colvert in response to witnessing the burning of her school, neighborhood, and friends' homes in the Eaton fire. After noticing a gap in support for teenage fire survivors, Altadena Girls focused recovery efforts on uplifting girls and young women. Altadena Girls collected and distributed clothing, beauty products, and personal care essentials with a focus on creating dignified offerings. As the personal impact of the Eaton fire evolved in the weeks and months following, Altadena Girls expanded their focus. While their free boutique is still available to fire survivors, it became clear that girls also need community, belonging, and hope, regardless of their experience with the fire. Altadena Girls now focuses on creating opportunities for girls to connect, express their creativity, and find grounding in their Colorado Boulevard location. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you to the awardees, and thank you for the commission for recognizing these amazing residents. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, I know that we lack of time, but maybe you and all of the awardees could take one photo.
Of course, come on up.
To small business, Octavia's bookstore, and Nikki has been such an extraordinary contributor to the whole North Central Pasadena life, and all you did to help Altadena survivors will always be remembered.
Councilor Lyon, I believe you had a quick announcement.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Briefly, I wanted to say that over the weekend, Councilmember Jones and I and several members of the city's Arts and Culture Commission were honored to accept the Art City Leadership Award 2025 for the city of Pasadena from ArtPac. ArtPac is an organization that exists to advocate for public spending on the arts. And they every year recognize a champion of the arts, and this year the city of Pasadena was the champion. So we're honored to have that award, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for representing the city, both Councilmember Jones and Councilor Lyon. Thank you.
For those of you that are standing, there are some additional seats now available in the front. So if anybody who needs a seat, please go ahead.
All right. Turning to public comment on matters not on the agenda.
Thank you. William Muir, followed by Michael Feinstein, followed by Barbara Feinstein. Yeah. I'm going to ask again, they may not be in the room. William Muir, M-E-U-R-E-R. Michael Feinstein. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes, and followed by Barbara Eisenstein, sorry.
Good morning, or good evening. Michael Feinstein. I'm a former Santa Monica mayor and city council member, a co-founder of the Green Party of California, and a candidate for California Secretary of State. I'm here to talk about changing how we elect the state legislature to proportional representation, would increase representation for your city. We've just gone through a race to the bottom, where we gerrymandered in favor of Democrats in California, Texas gerrymandered in favor of Republicans, and the Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act. And what that tells us is that a dependence upon single-seat winner-take-all districts inherently means some people get representation and some people don't, however we draw lines. But everybody has the right to have a seat at the table, otherwise you're on the menu. Proportional representation systems, they don't just elect one person at a time, but they elect several people for a geographic area. If a party gets 20% of the vote, they get 20% of the seats. 30% of the vote, 30% of the seats, etc. Everybody gets representation that way. The specific approach that I'm recommending is made well known by Pasadena's own Joe Matthews, where you would elect half the seats from smaller single-seat districts in an enlarged state legislature by ranked choice voting, and half the seat from multi-seat regional districts. Why regional? Because California is a nation state and a state of regions, and a lot of our public policy is not just based on a locality. Our economies are regional, our transportation systems are regional, and we don't send people to Sacramento out of regional public policy debates. There's likely to be a repeal of Top 2 coming, the jungle primary, very soon. And instead of just going back to the old system, I hope that cities like this will consider advocating in favor of proportional representation. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Barbara Eisenstein, and then William Muir.
Hello, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Barbara Eisenstein, and I'm here about the Arroyo Seco Water Reuse Project, DEIR. This 1,373-page document, 440 pages in Volume 1 alone, plus 933 pages of appendices, covers 2 construction sites that would permanently alter a rare riparian oak and sycamore woodland in the lower Arroyo Seco. The public has 45 days to digest this. This is not enough time. This community, adjacent neighborhoods in Highland Park and South Pasadena, environmental experts and legal reviewers cannot meaningfully engage with a document of this complexity in 45 days. The comment deadline of June 17th should be extended to at least 90 days. I'm also asking the council to hold a noticed public hearing before that deadline, not just accept written comments, so residents can speak directly to the environmental concerns this DEIR raises. Reduce stream flows in an already stressed watershed, the conversion of Los Angeles parkland for industrial infrastructure, and the community's longstanding request for a nature-based alternative that was again ignored. This project was forced into a full EIR after a lawsuit. The community earned that review. Give us the time to actually use it. Please direct staff to request a comment period extension, 90 days minimum, and schedule a public hearing before June 17th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And William Muir? Okay, and maybe if he comes back in, we'll give him an opportunity. That completes public comment on matters not on the agenda. We do have a public. Sorry.
She said there's a lot more. She said there are more.
Oh, there are more?
All right, give us one moment to check it out.
Now. Thank you. Yadi and then Humera. Oh, there are numbers. Sorry about that. My apologies.
Mayor, could we get a report back from staff on the feasibility of extending the EIR?
I'm looking at the city manager. Can we get an update?
Yes, we can provide an update.
Thank you. No, 2 minutes. 1 second. Yadi, Humera, Jeff Krulewski, Roy Payan, Alex Garagosian, Yael Pardes, Constance Villavaro, Claire Solis, Ophelia Pastor, Angela Gladding, and then Lisa Quinn. That's all on matters not on the agenda. Go ahead. If you heard your name, please form a line in the center. Go ahead, Yadi.
Hi, I'm again here to advocate that the city really reconsider the acquisition and use of all the surveillance technology being used here. So in the recent couple years, the city has acquired, literally gone on a surveillance shopping spree. They went through their third ALPR vendor, bought a cell site simulator for $1 million, a shot spotter gunshot detection system, installed surveillance cameras in our parks, and now has future plans for getting cameras on refuse vehicles or garbage trucks, cameras on the city fleet vehicles, installing a drone as a first responder, installing speed cameras to give tickets to people, and a real-time crime center, which basically integrates all kinds of cameras throughout the city so that the law enforcement can watch all of us in real time whenever they want, wherever we are. And unlike neighboring cities like Alhambra, who were outraged at the idea that their children be watched in public parks, and many cities across the nation who are outraged at the fact that the federal government, like ICE, has access to our license plate and our vehicle and information about us and is being used to track and persecute people across the country, the city is instead under the veil night is buying all this technology without real meaningful input from the public. And this is at a time when the city is defunding other programs that will help house our unsheltered folks and would help bring more programs for our health department. And so I really ask for you guys to actually work on putting in guardrails and restrictions. And when you're considering all this technology, especially since a lot of it has AI,
your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is this William Muir coming up? No. Then it's Humera, followed by Jeff Krylewski. I'm sorry, Krylewski. I'm getting that wrong. Then Roy Payan, and then Alex Garagosian. Go ahead, Humera.
Yeah. Hi. I want to share some information with council and especially people in the audience, to let them know that there are some important meetings coming up regarding mass surveillance in our community. Don't think for a second that the data can't get shared with federal or non-state agencies or that it can be used by other bad actors to cause harm to people. On Wednesday, the 18th of May at 5 p.m., FLOC will be on the agenda at the Public Safety Committee meeting. We really hope that this meeting will actually happen because the March meeting abruptly ended midway due to a loss of quorum, and the meeting in April was canceled at the last minute. On May 28th at 5 p.m., Pasadena Police Department budget will be on the agenda at a special Public Safety Committee meeting. PPD wants to acquire even more surveillance technology. I also suspect that there are a lot of people who'd like to see more city money go to things like clean energy, safe streets, and affordable housing than to further budget increases for PPD. I'm sharing this information here because the use and oversight of technology does not get discussed anywhere where it should be. There's no meaningful public engagement or discussion, and this needs to stop now. I encourage everyone to show up at these meetings or send emails to the council letting them know how you feel, your views on mass surveillance and runaway police department budgets. Lastly, I'd like to invite people to attend a webinar on Sunday, this coming Sunday at 6:30 on FLOC and other surveillance technology in Pasadena. We have flyers with additional details. For those of you outside, there's someone with flyers out there as well. So if you'd like more information, find me. I'm in the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Payan, followed by William Muir, then Jeff Krylewski.
Aho. You know, I'm here to speak against the Arroyo Seco water reuse project. This project continues to offend me, and it continues to offend our people. We believe, as well, my cousins in the north, the Lakota Nation does, that water is life. It's for all of us, not for use for a public golf course that you already have too many of. This is a burial site for our people. Why do you continue to erase our people? The erasure of our people extends to the point where you took our lands, you took our names, you took our culture, and now you seek to take our history and even our dead. This is a burial site where thousands of our people were massacred. They're buried there. We've got their records, yet it continues. I like the fact that Pasadena moved to respect immigrant rights and work on their behalf, yet you continue to ignore indigenous rights. Again, we are a people also. Please respect our rights. Please stop this project. It offends us. It offends us to no end. Each of you have history. How would you like it if your did were offended like this? Again, put an end to this project now. Aho.
Thank you. William Muir, followed by Jeff Serleski. Sorry about that. Mr. Muir, go ahead.
William Muir, Go Green Solutions. Thank you for that previous testimony. Isn't this a great city where we can talk about these things in a great manner? What do you say? Yeah. Isn't Pasadena the greatest city in the United States? Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say how much I appreciate all of your contributions over the years. I've been working for 7 years in and out with the council. Mr. Madison has been one of my heroes, is a great leader and father and administrator. And Mr. Hampton is the only one that voted against the minimum wage, so thank you very much. But I am here as a former businessman who's had a difficult time staying in business here. But I'd like to say that I've been working with the health department for 7 years about two things. Number one is the exposure of microwave radiation and screen addiction in our schools and in our city buildings. So I've given each of you a copy of my letter, which asks to consider maybe eliminating Wi-Fi. My company, Go Green Solution, has done research on this for over 10 years, and we're finding a lot of very interesting things. Without the EMF, it's much better. Number two, I think there should be vaccine choice and informed consent. And I think it would be great if the city council could pass a motion allowing people to, step back from having to get a mandatory vaccine. I've been working with Robert Malone, the inventor of the mRNA technology, who himself has taken the mRNA vaccine and says that it's not always the best thing. So the last two requests I have is that the city consider rescinding the city minimum wage law because it has forced a lot of small restaurants out of business. And also to rescind our designation as a sanctuary city. This is divisive, and we have legal immigration in this country, and the laws of the nation must be upheld or we won't have a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Can the audience please not shout out? Jeff Serleski, followed by Alex Giragosian, then Yael Pardes, and then Constance Villavaro. Go ahead, Mr. Serleski.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I will keep my remarks brief because I know you got a lot to talk about here tonight. But one of the things we're starting to hear as residents is that people aren't using the Union Bike Track or the Cordova bike lanes or other bike-related projects because we don't have a bike network. But we do have a bike network. We have 109 miles of bike infrastructure in the city. Over the last year, the board of Keep Pasadena Moving took on a mini project of our own to try and find out just how much bike infrastructure we have here in the city. KPM's ultimate goal is always safety. And we have a Department of Transportation that also is focused on that as well, and has developed a system of infrastructure in our streets that they have determined are good for cycling. 89 miles of that is already on the city's bike map, but we found an additional 20 miles that needs to be added to it. Some of those are old projects that were completed but haven't been added to the map yet. Others are bike routes that were never added at all for some reason. Once the department adds those to the map, then they should go ahead and promote that infrastructure and then measure the usage of it for everybody. We put together an op-ed, which we published this past weekend on social media. I'll be sending it to all of you after I speak here tonight. And if you have any questions on it or be interested in meeting with me about it, I'm happy to meet with any of you all at any time. And with that, thank you for the time tonight.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, please,
Jeff.
very briefly, though.
Absolutely. Jeff, you count as bike infrastructure paint in the road.
Okay. Oh,
I'm
yes.
asking.
Yeah, sorry, yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Alex Giragosian, Yael Pardes, Constance Villavaro, and Clara Solis. Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alex Giragosian. I'm with the Pasadena Armenian Festival. Just want to announce that Saturday, May 30th, from 11 to 7 p.m., we're having another festival at Victory Park. We got rained out last time, so we're praying for better weather this time around. The purpose of the festival is threefold. One is to introduce the San Gabriel Valley community to the Armenian culture. We're going to have about 80 vendors there, 17 performers. It's an all-day event. There's going to be a kid zone. The second purpose is it's a fundraiser for our 3 private Armenian schools located in Pasadena and Altadena. But we also have the Armenian students of Webster and Blair joining us as well. They're going to be performing on stage. And lastly, it's an opportunity for the nonprofit Armenian organizations in Pasadena to build a collaborative relationship. There's about 25 of us, and every single one is working on putting this festival together. So I just wanted to make that announcement. I'll have the postcards in the back. Thank you for your time, and good luck tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yael Pardes.
Yael Pardes. I oppose the water reuse project at San Pasqual Park. I live in LA, and I oppose the giving away of our land for this project. The EIR has been issued only because of a lawsuit and continues to dismiss the negative impact that this project will have on the environment and the whole community living near the project, mostly LA community. This esteemed group has approved the previous MND and its erroneous conclusions. We ask that this group read the EIR carefully, and as we all will, and not take its conclusion at face value. The same group that wrote the MND wrote the EIR. This is a very destructive project that will affect the neighboring valley, this wildlife corridor, and our waterways for years to come. By aggravating heat, air pollution, and noise, it will impact an historical park that we cherish and will destroy countless mature trees, habitat for wildlife, and could potentially destroy human or archaeological artifacts. We need more time to review this EIR. We are asking for 91 days and not 45 days as it is now. The project is funded by Measure W that specifically requires recipients to prioritize community engagement, equity, environmental protection, and use nature-based solution. Pasadena fails on all accounts. Does this sound like an equitable, green, nature-based, community-driven project? We do not think so. We ask that you oppose this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Constance Villavaro, followed by Clara Solis, then Ophelia Pastor, then Angelo Gladding, and then Lisa Quinn will be the last speaker for matters not on the agenda. Go ahead.
My name is Constance Villavaso. I'm a member of the Arroyo Seco Neighborhood Council in Los Angeles, here to oppose the Arroyo Seco Water Reuse Project, which will decimate the ecosystem of San Pasqual Park, including over 130 significant trees, as well as an indigenous burial site sacred to Kij Nation, wrongfully known as the Tongva. It will negatively affect the historically redlined, predominantly Latino neighborhoods that I represent, and as against CEQA, the environmental impact statement did not include Kij opposition. This project therefore represents an act of environmental injustice and cultural genocide. A 90-day continuance is the minimum that should be afforded us. Thank you.
Thank you. Clara Solis, followed by Ophelia Pastor.
Yes, I have 2,400 petitions that have been gathered since March. Against this project, we've submitted previous petitions. 4,000 people have signed on opposing this project. The draft EIR for the Arroyo Seco Water Reuse Project, also known as the San Pasqual Treatment, Wetlands, and Stormwater Capture Project, came out last Monday. The comment period is only 45 days. We need a longer comment period of 90 days to respond to this project. Pasadena has not involved the community most impacted by this project and its development, and submitted notices for its M&D entirely in English the day before Thanksgiving. This lack of outreach calls out for a more robust comment period this time. Please extend the comment period to 90 days. The DEI prepared failed to meet with the Quiche, even though they asked for a fuller consultation. Chief Solis of the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation stated in a letter to Pasadena and South Pasadena, due to the sensitivity of the area and its known connection to sacred sites and tribal cultural resources, we are formally requesting full avoidance of this location. And what did they do? They went ahead and released this EIR with all the impacts, all the alternatives. The build alternatives are on San Pascual land that was part of the Hojamunga that is sacred to the Quiche. They have constantly found burial sites on this land. Is my time up? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's just about up. You have about 5 seconds.
There you go. Next. And Isabel Jurado, our council member, is opposed to this project. Thank you.
Ophelia Pastor then followed by Angelo Gladding, then Lisa Quinn.
My
Go
name
ahead.
is Ophelia Pastor, and I'm opposed to the Arroyo water reuse and San Pascual. Please help us save our nature. It is horrible what they want to do with our nature, the birds, the trees, and everything. We are against it. I'm the neighborhood, and my neighborhood in San Pascual, everybody's against it. And please, I'm speaking behalf all my community. Please give us more extension to August, if it's possible. I would please beg you to help us save our nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Angelo Gladding, and then Lisa Quinn will be the last speaker on matters not on the agenda.
Council, just as the goat grazing acreage was opportunistically misclassified as open grassland despite it spanning a rich and biodiverse habitat, the original grant application for the Arroyo Seco water reuse project classified the San Pascual site as an unused dike. It is the oldest forested area in South Pasadena, providing immense benefits to South Pasadena residents, our neighbors in Los Angeles, and Pasadenians as an extension to our Arroyo Seco corridor. The hydrology report for the Pasadena San Rafael site from January 23 by Craftwater says, analysis has determined that runoff infiltrated by the San Rafael BMP will not contribute to groundwater recharge. The geotechnical evaluation for the South Pasadena San Pascual site from June 2022 by Nino and Moore says site bedrock will significantly reduce the effectiveness of on-site stormwater infiltration. At the October 2025 presentation to the EAC, Don Petschauer presented in response to community input on slide 35, San Pascual, likely no recharge. The infiltration BMPs are unplantable gravel and are set to impact the entire footprint of the existing forested wetland. They remain in the plans. The alternatives presented in the DEIR just drop these BMPs elsewhere without geotechnical or hydrologic analysis. The whole project is a bust. We're well past incompetence and well into blatant lies and corruption. Stop the project and investigate the project managers and the process. Extend the EIR until I receive the full bulk of my public records requests. I've received 30 pages in 4 months, and there's 2,000 remaining.
Lisa Quinn, followed by Nicholas Robb. I guess we missed your card. Go ahead.
Hi. I want to reiterate something that has been previously brought up in the public comments here. When UFAC voted to remove 17 mature and healthy trees from the arroyo, proper protocol hadn't been followed. Notices to the public had not been posted on or near in the vicinity of the trees. What this meant was that the public had not had the chance to respond to the trees being scheduled for removal. When the members of UFAC voted on the proposition to remove the trees, they had only heard from those who wanted the trees removed. I was at several of the public comment sessions after the vote was taken because I was speaking on a different topic. I found the reasons not to remove the trees very compelling. Because protocol hadn't been followed and no signs had been posted, these public comments were being made after the vote, not before it. I would like to propose to the council that a motion be made for the previous vote to be disregarded based on protocol having not been followed. Then the proper protocol be followed with the posting of signs followed by time for public comment. then a subsequent vote taken to replace the previous one. And I submitted by email a copy of this for all of you.
Thank you. Nicholas Robb.
Yes, thank you. I scrambled really quickly to fit 3 minutes to 2, so I apologize if it doesn't make sense. But honorable council members and mayor, thank you so much for your time. My name is Nicholas Rabb. I'm a resident in Councillor Cole's district, in District 2 on Hill Ave. I wanted to briefly give my perspective on the growing data-driven policing infrastructure being considered in Pasadena, which is not on the agenda currently, but seems useful to uplift because everyone's here. I was at the community meeting with the police chief, mayor, and city manager a few months ago, hearing residents condemn flock cameras in the city. I heard the police department's presentation of their internal audit defending flock and was looking forward to engaging with the public safety committee until the meeting was canceled at the last minute. At that community meeting months ago, dozens of residents expressed that trust with the city had been broken by decisions made regarding ICE in Pasadena. Since then, I've personally learned that the city operates 61 flock surveillance cameras, is planning to build a data fusion center for PPD, and that they're dismissing serious threats that these systems pose to us. To me, as a resident, when I've spoken with other neighbors, I want to share very clearly that the plans to build these data-driven policing infrastructures are not going to fix your trust problems. They are actually literally the cause of them. I know your job is to somewhat weigh whether residents' concerns about surveillance are legitimate, given the potential benefits to police. And I'm sure it's tempting to imagine residents may be over-anxious and the police are the experts here. Well, let me tell you from my expert perspective as someone who taught university courses on surveillance technologies that you need to really take these concerns seriously. And I've been disappointed by the council's stance on these issues. This style of data-driven policing brought ICE to Pasadena. It will continue to bring ICE to Pasadena. It will bring whatever next agency the administration creates to Pasadena. Surveillance technologies literally open the door for this kind of violence that's destroying our community.
Your time has expired.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving to the consent calendar.
That completes public comment on matters not on the agenda. Yes. So we have one card for item that's for item 2 and 13 on consent.
Why don't we take up that public comment now?
Sure. Jill Shook. She's participating virtually. Jill, you're muted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead. You have 2 minutes for both items. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to first speak on the issue of the waived taxes and fees for affordable accessory dwelling units, ADUs, including waiving the construction and tax and residential impact fees for affordable agreements. So you've done some great work cutting back plan check fees even by 50%. While I'm very grateful for these significant efforts our city has done to lower the fees for affordable ADUs, there's some additional fees that are quite significant that I think should be considered and lowered. So the cost for just the permit only to create the connection to the sewer is between $8,000 and $15,000. And if any upgrades to the electrical panel or new water or gas lines are needed, that's another $3,000 to $10,000. So it's my request that these fees be significantly lowered, especially in light for the affordable ADUs, especially in light of the additional taxes paid due to new construction for ADUs, which could be anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 a year. So that's my point on that particular issue. I wanted to also mention about, this is in regard to the condo, the 9 units. So I wanted to be sure that AB 2222 was applied to that condo site of 9 units. The main purpose of this state bill has to do with replacing of all properties pre-existing affordable units, and it's calculated based
Jill,
on
your
what-
time has expired.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. It's good to hear from you, Jill. Councilmember Cole, did you have a comment on the consent calendar? No. Are there any councilmember questions, comments on consent? Is there a motion? Or go ahead.
Very briefly, I will mention that at EdTech we will discuss the fees of ADUs as well as building permit fees.
Thank you for letting us all know.
I could, Vice Mayor, we did get a comment about one of the water and power
Yeah, it was
matters.
about the public, the email.
Yeah, is there a public comment, did you say as well?
No, it was just an not just, it was an email that we received late. I was going to just report it out.
Okay.
It was one letter expressing opposition and urging the city council, this is for item 4, urging the city council to reject the proposed contract. And that was distributed to the council, posted online, and part of the record for item 4.
If Director Reyes is here, could we pull that and just hear a response to that? It's a substantial question. And
Okay.
I don't want to prolong things, but
Absolutely. Let's give him a moment to join us.
He also responded in an email to the full council.
Is that part of the record?
No, I think that was just directly back to the person who submitted.
Can we make that part of the record then?
We could.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we still want to hear from?
Would you still like to hear from him? Okay.
I didn't see that email, so I apologize. Of course, I get hundreds a day, so thank you.
Can we make sure he's on his way?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to congratulate, perhaps prematurely because we haven't taken the vote yet, Mr. Chiralewski, who spoke earlier. He knows, and it's public record, that I removed him from the Transportation Advisory Commission based not on his record or his character, but based upon how he was appointed. And I'm glad to see him back on. I think he'll add a useful voice.
Thank you and welcome back. Director Reyes?
Thank you, Vice Mayor and council members. This is regarding item 4 and a question about additional consultant work for modeling. And I think specifically the comment that I did respond and had a phone call with the commenter about was the idea that just making sure that the consultant wasn't looking to do any work or undo any work in terms of council priorities and council policies for green energy. And really on the contrary, this is modeling that's needed as we go forward towards green energy contracts, as we look to diversify our portfolio. Modeling is something that we had talked about during the OSP process with the TAP group as well as MSC and City Council. And this particular contract would extend our relationship with Yes Energy and Encompass Software, which is a premier modeling software. But I did an RFP because we had POs and I wanted to make sure that we were getting the best possible price. So we released a competitive RFP and we did go with the proposal, which is in front of the City Council tonight. And it is $748,000 over a 3-year period with a couple of additional years as needed. But it is for modeling. It is not to undo anything that the council has set forth in terms of policy, because the city's council policy is the city's policy, and we are part of the city.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Any other questions or comments on consent? Otherwise, is there a motion?
Motion to move approval, and
Second.
I would like to also thank General Manager Reyes for his response earlier.
Yes. Thank you so much. Any objections to the motion? Seeing none, that motion passes. Turning to
Unanimously.
item 19.
So this is a continued public hearing. The city clerk's office received one letter advocating for additional appropriations for interim housing, permanent supportive housing, and a year-round shelter in the city. And then the correspondence received from May 4th is as part of the record. So we distributed the correspondence to the city council, posted online, and as part of the record for the public hearing. We have 2 comment cards for this item.
I'll turn to staff. Is there a brief presentation or none tonight?
Vice Mayor, no additional presentation this evening because of the other items on the agenda. So we'll take public comment and continue it to next Monday.
All right. Moving to public comment.
Sonia Burnt, followed by Yadi.
Good evening. I submitted a letter setting forth many of my concerns about the city's proposed 2027 operating budget for the housing department. Investing in a year-round shelter and transitional housing for unsheltered folks was in the council's top 5 priorities for 2027, but they appeared nowhere in the budget. At the HHP committee meeting last week, I urged the city to increase funding for these 2 projects from the general fund and reserves. I reminded the committee that the council approved $21.5 million total for fiscal year 2021 and 2022 from the reserves to pay the RBOC's annual debt service. After I sat down, the mayor incorrectly stated that the source of those bailout funds was the Federal American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. They were not. Mr. Hawksworth then stated that the city originally advanced the general fund dollars for the RBOC debt payments and then reimbursed them with the ARPA dollars. That was also incorrect, as proven by all the materials associated with the August 13th, 2021 council meeting discussing the recommended ARPA appropriations. Mr. Hawksworth told the council then that the staff recommendation, quote, does not include RBOC debt. ARPA regulations prohibit the city from using ARPA funds to make debt service payments, unquote. That was correct per Treasury Department guidance. When the RBOC's huge debt payments were considered in 2020 and 2021, there was no reluctance in using reserves, even though the city was in a much worse financial state than now, and even though the first debt payment, the city covered, exhausted, the 5% operating reserve. Our residents who continue to languish on our streets and our 44 families losing their emergency housing vouchers require you to find solutions, including using general fund reserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Yadi.
Hi, I'm here to echo the sentiments of the previous public commenter. We should definitely be doing more to support the unhoused, and I know we can't build permanent housing for everybody at the moment, but at least do some interim things. And as I mentioned in my earlier public comment, you know, we're really lucky to be one of 4 handful of cities in the state to have a health department, but for it to be meaningful, we should be looking at every which way we can to put funding and resources into that, because the way that we build strong communities is through housing and through health. And we can't really, I don't think it's fair to be boasting that we have a health department if we're not putting the funding behind it. And I also want to say that, you know, they were the ones that were really there for us, in addition to all of the other city departments. But during COVID and during the fire, and as I mentioned earlier, like instead of purchasing surveillance for under the guise of public safety, we should be looking at solutions that address the issues that we had before us. And the biggest one that the city has faced is that of a natural disaster. So instead, we should be looking at supporting our first responders that deal with those kind of emergencies and not surveilling us, because surveillance is not safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That completes public comment on item number 19. We need a motion to continue to next week at 6 p.m.
Motion to continue.
Are there any objections? One quick question or comment. Go ahead.
Mr. City Manager, we've talked about this, and I would just like to see us, before we conclude our budget deliberations, or shortly thereafter, depending upon the realities of our schedule, for us to take up holistically the issue of performance measurement. I understand the goal of each department testing some of theirs with the various council committees. I think I have no problem with that, but I think that what we've seen demonstrates the need for a citywide approach to performance management, and I think it would be valuable for the council to take that issue up. If we can't do it before the adoption of the budget, then shortly thereafter.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none. Any objections to the motion? That motion passes. So we will continue that discussion next week, and until June 11th, I believe, 15th, we will adopt our budget. Moving on to item 20.
The featured item.
Yes, we will start with a brief staff presentation. I'll just speak very briefly, and maybe Councilmember Mattis, if you want to say something briefly, as the chair of legislative policy, where this item comes from. It was at legislative policy, I believe, for 2 meetings. We discussed it. We heard from the public. Appreciate everyone who came out then and who is coming out tonight. The recommendation from the committee is to amend our ethical investment policy to clearly state that we will not invest the city's money in fossil fuel, weapons manufacturers, private prisons, and tobacco. And also to encourage the Fire and Police Retirement Board to consider doing the same. So that is where we stand tonight. And with that, I'll turn it off to staff.
Vice Mayor, if I could, just a
Yes,
point of
I'm
order.
sorry, go ahead.
I note that we are without the mayor tonight, and I think generally speaking, this would be the kind of major policy discussion that should have both a full council and especially the participation of mayor. The participation.
And if I could ask the
Mayor
members of the public,
Cordell.
this is going to be a very, people feel strongly about this item. If we can keep our voices down, let everyone be heard. So thank you so much for cooperating with us tonight.
Yeah, and I make no brief for how that looks, but I do think we've had problems when we've had substantial issues, arguably less substantial than this, decided by fewer than a full council. So it's just food for thought. Happy to take all the testimony tonight, discuss, maybe then afford an opportunity for the full council to act when the mayor's back. It was unexpected that he was ill this evening, as I understand. So I just want to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. I just want to give a brief background on the topic. The recommendation today is to find the proposed action is not a project subject to CEQA and approve the suggested amendments to the investment policy. Now, just as a background, since we're talking about the investment policy, I'd like to always reinstate the main objectives in our investment policy and the state government code. The policy establishes procedures and guidelines that will ensure the prudent management of public funds. It incorporates the regulations specified by California code sections into the agency's investment program and specifies the investment philosophy of the agency. Now, when we talk about investment in any government, the primary objective is to safeguard the principle of the funds. Second objective is to meet liquidity. And the third objective is to achieve a reasonable rate of return. Now, in 2021, the investment policy was amended to include a section regarding environmental, social, and governance, also called socially responsible investing, or called ESG. And ESG requires investments to be made with consideration of the environment and human well-being as well as the economy. Examples are environmental, our carbon footprint, energy consumption, water waste, external conservation initiatives, and use of natural resources. For social, it relates to labor rights, employee diversity, corporate social responsibility, human rights ethics, and the governance relates to leadership structure, executive compensation, corruption, bribery, human capital management, transparency, disclosure, and shareholder rights. So when we say ESG, they relate to these topics. On December 18, 25, last December, the Legislative Committee met and discussed the investment policy position on the social investing and ESG, including public comments requests to consider the boycott and divestment from companies doing business in Israel, and requested a review of the city's investment policy to ensure exclusion of direct investments in companies engaged in fossil fuel production weapons manufacturing, and tobacco. On January 6, 26, during the Legislative Committee, Vice Mayor Rivas reported that she's working with staff on a broader resolution regarding investment and social responsibility. And on February 3rd, 26, the committee reviewed a memorandum that confirmed the city's pool investment portfolio did not hold any of these investments and directed staff to bring forward an amendment to the investment policy prohibiting such investments and included companies engaged in during the discussions, added to the above factors companies that are engaged in private prisons. Now, today the recommendation is that the City Council codify the Legislative Policy Committee's recommendation by inserting the following language in Section 10 of the investment policy. And it reads, the city treasurer or any other authorized individual or company managing the investments of the city surplus fund shall not invest in companies that engage in the production of fossil fuel, weapons manufacturing, tobacco, or private prisons. And I want to reiterate that the city has not engaged or invested in such companies, and we don't hold any investments in companies that are engaged in these aspects. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from my colleagues at this point? Councilor Masuda.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can there be other amendments to the city investment policy in the future?
Yes, at any time. This is your council's policy. This is the city's investment policy. The council on an annual basis adopts the policy. At any time, the city council can amend the city's investment policy.
Thank you for that, Vic. And when will we be able to make our comments? After?
Yeah, I think we'll move, assuming there's no other questions, we'll move to public comment, and then we'll have our discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no further questions at this point, let's turn to public comment.
Mr. Madison is in
Oh,
the queue.
I'm so sorry. Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Vice Mayor. No, quite all right. Just a quick question about, did we check anti-boycott legislation, both state and federal, to
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Vic. So we did do a review. There is some language that we had presented to, I believe, the first ledge policy meeting that talked about there is a state government code that requires that we could lose potential state funding, including grants, if we took a specific, we took any specific actions against Israel as a nation. And I can pull up the staff report if you'd like to, and I can respond to that after public comment, because I'd have to pull it up and read the specific words.
No, I just want to make sure that we're guided by that, because I think, further to Councilmember Masuda's point, this is an area where there could be unintended consequences, externalities, at a time when we're really challenged in terms of funding. Let's not have an own goal by something that isn't essential to what we're after here, you know.
And not to interject if you were going to respond, but I think it's certainly my perspective and my thought about going through legislative policy was to fully vet out those things. And I'm very appreciative to staff for doing that legwork, and whatever else you can share with us either now or after public comment would be helpful.
Sure, I just pulled it up. It's California Public Contracting Code 2010. And it states a person that submits a bid or proposal I'm going to skip a little bit, with a value of $100,000 or more, which would be us. We get more than $100,000 in state grant funds. That it says subsection C2, any policy adopted by a person or actions taken thereunder that are reasonably necessary to comply with federal or state sanctions or laws affecting sovereign nations or their nationals shall not be construed as unlawful discrimination under the violation of the Unruh Civil Rights Act. And then above that, subsection 1 says that any policy that they have against any sovereign nation or peoples recognized by the government of the United States, including but not limited to the nation and people of Israel, is not used to discriminate in violation of the Unruh Civil Rights Act or the California Fair Employment and Housing Act, were the two sections cited in the original staff report.
All right, thank you. Turning to public comment then.
So before I start calling names, I will say that we'll go, there's 50 names, or there's 50 cards, 55 actually. If you have not submitted your card and you're not part of the list at this point, and we've refreshed it, and we've added all the cards in, we're not going to be accepting any more cards. So now is the last chance. And so you could hand it to a city clerk staff, or you could hand it to the sergeant at arms. In terms of correspondence, the city clerk's office received significant correspondence on this item. 10 letters in opposition to the city council taking any action related to boycott, divestment, and sanction BDS within the city, or modifying proposed environmental, social, and governance policies that include any anti-Israel investment boycott. One letter that was essentially the same letter submitted by 1,469 individuals advocating for the city council to reject any proposed divestment resolution. One chain letter submitted by 209 individuals advocating for the city council to support and expand the city's ethical investment resolution, including divestment from Israel. One chain letter submitted by 30 individuals advocating for the city council to clearly state on the record that it will not adopt any BDS-related measures or policies that single out Israel. One chain letter submitted by 21 individuals advocating for the city to not include any reference to BDS in Israel on any ESG proposed resolution. One chain letter submitted by 76 individuals in support of the ethical investment resolution and divestment from Israel, and recognizing the conflicting in the Middle East. And then one petition reported to include over 600 physical signatures in support of an ethical investment policy and or providing comments related to the matter. All the correspondence was submitted to the city council, posted online as part of this item. And I will start reading names. If you hear your name, what's that? Oh, it's 1 minute, given that we have 50 public comment speakers. And we announced that earlier. As I call your name, if you could start to queue up, I'll call about 7 or 10 names at a time. Kate E., Alexandria Douglas, Dr. Lena Al-Saraf, Marianne Albina, Bert Newton, Bob Brodsky, Hidab Tarifi, Vinny DeStefano, and Michael Flynn, and then Levant Akbarut.
Councilmember Cole?
You briefly suggested to the audience that we hear each other respectfully. I think, given the circumstances this evening, I think we should reiterate that this is an issue of tremendous weight and emotional resonance, and so undoubtedly people feel deeply strongly, but I think it bears repeating on behalf of all of us that we want to hear you all, and we want you to hear each other as respectfully as possible.
Absolutely, thank you for doing that, and I'll remind us all if I need to, but I know we all want to participate and be heard, so thank you.
And I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds left. You may start, Kate.
On Saturday, a father riding a motorcycle with his 12-year-old daughter was struck by an Israeli drone. IDF drone operators see their targets through high-definition multispectral sensor balls with clarity far exceeding the human eye. They tried to escape but were chased by the drone operator, who pushed the button a second time, killing the father instantly. Wounded, the girl crawled about 100 meters. The Israeli drone operator pursued her and pushed the button a third time. With her final moments seeing her father killed right in front of her, she died. This happened in Nabatea, Lebanon, because American politicians said nothing as Israel killed and kills families in Gaza. In a post on Facebook, IDF soldier Moshe Levy tells us why. People call us baby killers, this is a quote, but you know what? They're not wrong, and we should not be ashamed of it. I'm proud to be one because this is what God ordered. That includes men, women, babies, animals. I feel no emotion when it comes to
Kate,
this.
your time has expired.
They need to be dead. Don't
Alexandria,
invest in genocide.
Alexandria Douglas.
I stand here today as a resident of Pasadena, a mother of two, and a daughter and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors, and here we go again. BDS, while often framed as a human rights campaign, does the opposite and is fundamentally unjust. It is inherently discriminatory. It is not applied universally to nations accused of human rights violations. It disproportionately targets, delegitimizes, and singles out the world's only Jewish state. The UN reported that Russia deliberately attacked Ukrainian civilians. They called it the human safari. It was a war crime, a crime against humanity. Where is your outrage? Where are your Ukrainian flags? Why no boycott of Egypt? There's evidence of extrajudicial executions of civilians. Syria, no boycott of China for their crimes against the Uyghur. There's a reason the High Court in France found BDS to be illegal. They found it to be discriminatory, hateful, and irresponsible in its language. French philosopher Descartes said, I think, therefore I am.
Ma'am, your
We
time
want
has
to
expired.
We need to
Dr.
think. Let us be thoughtful today. Let us be just.
Dr.
Let us
Lena Al-Sarraf, followed by Marion Albina, then Bert Newton, Bob Brodsky.
Good evening. I urge you as a Pasadena resident and taxpayer to support and expand the ethical investment resolution from the Legislative Policy Committee that would ban any investments in fossil fuels, private prisons, weapons of destruction, and add mass surveillance and name and acknowledge the genocide in Gaza. I think we should revisit the code so it's fair to all, so that a Holocaust or genocide is not justified. I also urge you to recommend to the FPRS board to adopt a similar ethical investment policy that actually has investments in these companies. Our tax dollars spending should align with our values about divesting from any companies complicit in the genocide. Our humanity and legacy is at stake, and let's have the City of Roses keep true to honoring its tradition, not just of showcasing to the world our beautiful Rose Parade, but of our deep commitment to restoring integrity and value to human life and dignity.
Thank you. Marianne Albina, followed by Bert Newton, then Bob Brodsky, Hadab Tarifi, Vinny DeStefano, Michael Flynn, De Levant Akbarut.
I'm a Palestinian, a parishioner at All Saints, and a granddaughter of Armenian genocide survivors. I ask that the ethical investment policy mentions Palestine. Leading experts call what's happening in Palestine a genocide. If you think opposing genocide is anti-Semitic, then you have a dishonorable view of Judaism. Silence enables those who weaponize religions to justify oppression. You would not accept it from Trump or those who misuse Christianity, so please do not accept it here. Today, the New York Times reported that Israel uses systematic sexual violence as state policy. Today, Israel is doing to Lebanon what it's doing to Gaza. This is enabled by our money and your silence. Pasadena did wonderfully recognizing the Armenian genocide and divesting from South Africa. Why deny Palestinians the same humanity? How can an investment policy be ethical and ignore what's happening in Palestine? You can still include in language against genocide, a trust that you choose love.
Your time has
over fear
expired.
and power.
Bert Newton, followed by Bob Brodsky, Hadab Tarifi.
Yes, good evening. The Pasadena for Palestine Divestment Coalition supports the Armenian Bar Association's divestment campaign for Pasadena. We sent in a letter about that and it was posted. What happened in Artsakh was considered a genocide by genocide scholars and human rights organizations. Our goal is for our city to take a stand against all genocides. Our focus has been on the genocide in Gaza because that is the one for which the U.S. is supplying weapons and political cover. But we stand with everyone who is resisting and acting to stop genocide and hold the perpetrators accountable. Please use your leadership tonight to help us do that. I also want to mention that Our recommendation and the ledge policy recommendation was not about businesses doing business in Israel, but businesses involved in the genocide. That is there is a distinction there. Also, I want to say that if there are 5 votes tonight for an updated policy, we should go with that. The problem with the safe parking was they weren't 5 votes, and there were other problems with that as well.
Your time has
If there
expired,
were
Bert.
5 votes, we should go with that tonight.
Bob Brodsky. Followed by Hidab Tarifi, Vinny DeStefano, Michael Flynn, Levant Akbarut, Jeffrey Landau, Eric Schlecht.
Okay, thanks for having me, everybody. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to say I'm a lifelong resident of San Gabriel Valley. I'm Jewish. I'm a proud Zionist. And I'm not going to debate with you guys because I know how that goes. We've tried that. But I wanted to ask one question. What do you folks feel about Iran? You know, I hear about unfortunate situations that may or may not happen.
Speak towards the council.
But what is going on with your I don't see one protest for Iran. Those are people. Over the weekend, and I want to pronounce these names right because they matter. Jacob Karpamor, 43 years old, and Nasser Bakarada, 26, were tortured and executed Sunday in Iran. So I'd really be curious how you guys feel about that.
If I could remind all public commenters to direct your comments to the council, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
And speak into the microphone also so we can hear you.
Hidab Tarifi, followed by Vinny DeStefano.
Greetings of peace, everyone. For more than a year and a half now, I've been coming here, sharing with you my personal story, my loss, losing so many members of my family in this genocide in Gaza. And we as a Pasadena for Palestine community have been coming here, pleading with you to do the right thing and to save lives. We want to save all people's lives. In the last year plus, Islamophobia was on the rise. Anti-Semitism was on the rise. And it's all because of what is happening in Gaza. And we're only asking you to do the right thing by accepting a policy and issuing an ethical investment. We're not saying let's boycott Israel, even though I wish we could. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for the city to simply issue an ethical policy to protect people's life, whether here in LA, in Pasadena, or in the rest of the world.
Thank you.
Imagine, if you will, it's 1939, and you're a savvy investor, and you're Jewish, and you live in America, and you decide to invest in blue chip companies, IBM, Ford, GM, Kodak, ITT. How would you feel to know that the collation systems that Adolf Eichmann used to gather 6 million of your brothers and sisters and send them to the death camps, your investment paid for that? How about the fact that IBM used information to provide slave labor to those other companies that profited from that? We are asking you to divest from profit from war. Any war. Caterpillar killed Rachel Corrie in 2003 with one of their Caterpillars. Same Caterpillars they're using to take and clear Altadena. Bravo for Caterpillar. But they create machines of war that kill. And they killed an American citizen and no one was held accountable.
Sir, your time has
You
expired.
have the right time to be on the right side
Flynn.
of justice. Divestment now.
Levant Akbarut.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Tyrone Hampton for initiating this process by submitting a resolution to the Legislative Policy Committee. I'd like to thank Mayor Gordo for supporting Tyrone Hampton's submission. I'd like to thank Rick Cole for providing vocal support for our cause in City Council discussions. And I'd like to thank Vice Mayor Rivas for proposing the current legislative policy resolution and getting it passed in that committee. Thank you all. It is totally reasonable for the Pasadena City Council to clarify that the human rights considerations in its current ESG statement in the city investment policy covers the human rights abuses in Gaza. As we have said many times, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, B'Tselem, the UN Human Rights Council, and the International Association of Genocide Scholars have concluded that what's going on is a genocide. It would be unreasonable for Pasadena City Council to disagree with the consensus of these respected institutions on matters of human rights. Please move the Overton window for American institutions. They are out of sync with morality. Thank you.
Thank you. One second. Let me call a few names here because the line's getting a little short. Levant Akbarut, Jeffrey Landau, Eric Schlecht, Lynn Sullivan, Robert Sturble, Dennis McNamara, Brooklyn Cleckley, Amy Carell. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Levent Akbarut. I'm a Pasadena resident, American Muslim of Turkish heritage, and a lifelong human rights and interfaith activist. I want to begin by saying something absurd. Please don't be a Holocaust and genocide denier. I'm not a denier of the Armenian genocide. I'm not a denier of the Holocaust that was inflicted upon the Jewish people in World War II. And I'm not a denier of what is happening in Gaza unfolding before our eyes. It's not a radical demand. It's a historical obligation. The world once stood together and used divestment, international pressure to bring apartheid and South Africa to justice. It worked, it was right, and the parallel in history is not merely symbolic, but it's exact. The state, the wall, a system of legal separation, and a captive people denied their humanity.
Mr.
History
Akbarut,
gave
your
us
time
this
has
lesson,
expired,
and moral
sir.
courage demands us that we apply it.
Jeffrey Landau.
Good evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us the opportunity to speak. I am the former president of Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I want to congratulate you on making the proper decision regarding the divestment of BDS and the ethical policy of Pasadena. I urge you not to do that in any case, while it's the supporters of it as a human rights initiative. In practice, BDS often undermines dialogue and coexistence by promoting broad economic and cultural boycotts that impact not only governments, but also ordinary people, Israelis and Palestinians alike. Pasadena is a city that values inclusion, collaboration, and constructive engagement. BDS moves in the opposite direction. It discourages partnerships in education, technology, and culture, areas where cooperation has historically
Mr.
brought
Landau,
people
your time
together.
has expired.
Thank you.
Eric Schlecht, followed by Lynn Sullivan, Robert Sturble, Dennis McNamara, Brooklyn Cleckley, Amy Corell, Dylan Barron, and Rob Mathia.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Rivas and members of the council. I've been also a member of the board of Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, and also been a resident of Pasadena for 26 years. We strongly oppose any ethical investment strategy that singles out the state of Israel. The Middle East conflict has existed for a century now. H.L. Mencken wrote, every human problem has a well-known solution that is neat, plausible, and wrong. A measure singling out Israel is wrong. Who would such a measure benefit? Not the Palestinians. There's nothing really in it for them, nor does it benefit residents of Pasadena. Who would it hurt? We in the Jewish community, your neighbors, have experienced increasing acts of vandalism and violence, and measures such as this give validation and encouragement to those who commit such acts. Again, we urge you to reject any framework that targets Israel. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Sullivan.
Good evening. The last couple of people have said quite a bit similar what I was going to share. So our city does not set U.S. foreign policy or investment policy. Boycotting companies associated with Israel is wrong. It's a wrong approach. It punishes workers, consumers, and innovators, and our own citizens. So I would urge you to publicly denounce anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-Arab and anti-Palestinian racism. Make clear that harassment, threats, or violence towards any community will not be tolerated. Decline to divest of companies doing business with either side, and keep our city's investments focused on financial responsibility rather than symbolic boycotts. Work with community groups and schools and faith institutions to provide support and to de-escalate terrorism. Please use this platform to stand clearly against hate, against terrorism, and for the safety and humanity of everyone in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Sturble, followed by Dennis McNamara.
Hello, members of the City Council. I sent you an email the other day, and basically, I agree with Ms. Sullivan. We need to turn down the rhetoric. I understand that all the people who are holding up signs think that the answer to this country is to get more radical. We are in an electoral college. We need to include the people in the red states. We need to have dialogue. We need to turn down the negative demonizing of Muslims, of Palestinians, of Jews. We need to understand we're all children of God. We're all children of God, and we need to have that land for peace concept come back for peace. Thanks.
Thank you. Dennis McNamara.
I applaud the effort to consider updating the ESG language in the city's investment policies. However, I believe the proposed language reflects a very narrow perspective, not of the greater community. Happily, the current guidelines already reflect actionable ESG principles and have resulted in the intended policy that the new language would codify. In the particular case of language directed at Israel, I believe the city has no place in choosing sides in international politics. Yes, there is vehement opposition to Israel's actions and policies, but so is there for that of its enemies in the region across the globe. In the wake of last week's heartfelt, ecumenical, interfaith prayer breakfast, I urge you to reject hate. Let's instead work to elevate communication and connection. Reject the proposed amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooklyn Cleckley, followed by Amy Corral, then Dylan Barron, then Rob Mathia, then Mona Stewart, Carl Selkin, Michael George, Charlotte Bionteri, and then Neil Kohansky. Go ahead.
Good evening, council members. My name is Brooklyn Cleckley, and I'm proud to be born and raised here in Pasadena. The city is my home, and I want to continue being proud of the moral choices Pasadena makes and the legacy our leaders leave behind. That's why I'm here tonight in support of the ethical investment policy, urging you to have the courage to explicitly name Palestine and the genocide in Gaza in its language. We are not in a vacuum. We are here because mass death and displacement are being broadcast in real time, and residents have been demanding this city not remain silent. Some say this isn't Pasadena's business, but it is when federal tax dollars fund mass killing and public institutions invest in companies profiting from it. Silence is not neutral. Refusing to act is a choice. Refusing to name genocide while benefiting from those systems is complicity. You've received overwhelming emails from Pasadena residents calling for this policy. Pasadena previously divested from apartheid South Africa because moral clarity mattered. We're asking you to choose courage and name the genocide.
Ma'am, your time has expired. Thank you. Amy Corral, followed by Dylan Barron, followed by Rob Mathia. Amy?
I am a Pasadena resident and thankful to this council for its hard work. Pasadena residents need and expect this council to focus on Pasadena's challenges: housing affordability, homelessness, public safety, infrastructure, pension obligations, fiscal responsibility. These issues affect our daily lives in this city. Yet for months, council meetings have been consumed by debates over Middle East politics that the city of Pasadena has no practical power to influence or independently evaluate. Regardless of anyone's views on the Middle East, city government must remain focused on solving local problems, not symbolic foreign policy resolutions that divide the community and accomplish nothing for Pasadena residents. Thank you.
Dylan Barron, followed by Rob Mathia, then Mona Stewart, then Carl Selkin.
Thank you, Council. I have a handout that will be given to you in a second. It includes the letter from the Jewish Federation that was included correspondence for this issue. And I'd like to read to you from the letter briefly. It's addressed to Mayor Gordo and the council members. And it says, among other things, we have written letters and they've done many things to reflect our objections to ensnarling the city of Pasadena in a matter of foreign policy. And if you'll flip through the packet to the third page, third through sixth pages, you will see invitations from the Jewish Federation, the same group that wrote that letter, inviting the mayor and 3 of the 7 council members to go to Israel with airfare paid on a week-long trip to shake hands with the president of Israel. We just want you to say something about Palestine. You say something against genocide. If you don't want to denounce Israel, fine, whatever, don't. We want you to say something for the Palestinian people. That's
Mr. Barron, your time has expired. Thank you. Mr. Mathia, hi. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Reverend Dr. Rob Mathia with Pasadena Mennonite Church, resident of District 1. Budgets and the way we spend our money are moral decisions. And what we do with our money here in Pasadena has those implications. We're not asking this council to make international policy. We are making local decisions about what we do with our money. There was a video report from Dr. Tahir Mohammed that came out yesterday. He's a doctor who has worked in Gaza, in Jordan, and in Lebanon. And he keeps extracting these tiny tungsten cubes that are part of cluster bombs that Israel is using. Cluster bombs are outlawed by the Convention on Cluster Munitions that 124 countries have signed on to, but Israel has not. We need to say that we aren't willing to make investments in companies that make these kinds of munitions across the board. We don't, Israel anywhere.
Sir, your time has expired.
We need to make this, because it's a moral issue that we need to take a stand on.
Thank you. Mona Stewart, followed by Carl Selkin, then Michael George, then Charlotte Bionteri, then Neil Kahansky, Lucy Petit, Eric Petit, then Zania Altubad. Go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members, everyone. I'm here on a personal matter. I'm here as someone whose family is from northern Gaza, where our land, like the concept, actually, I have to wake up every day and consider that everything about actually existence, like your where you come from in this world, where you belong to, is actually gone. And very quickly, like what breaks my heart more than anything is the level of cruelty and hatred with which it's done. Ben-Gvir, the Minister of Security, recently celebrated his 50th birthday with a birthday cake that has a noose on it. His wife gifted him the birthday cake. And that symbolizes a level of inhumanity and cruelty.
Ms. Stewart, your time has expired.
That is dangerous.
Thank you. Carl Selkin.
Hi. Thank you. I'm Carl Selkin, and I've been a resident of Pasadena for too many years, or not enough years. But I'd like to thank the City Council for resisting the pressure that's been put on you to adopt a policy that is BDS, which is destructive and which is not at all productive of reconciliation, of peace, and of self-determination for the peoples in the area. So I applaud that, and I hope that in the future you will see a way to find an investment policy that is positive, an investment policy not based on ROI alone, but also on furthering the goals of Pasadena by investing in renewables, and as you have done, rejecting fossil fuels so we can all enjoy a future that is based not around the wars fueled by fossil fuels, but by peace and
Sir, your time has expired.
Thank you.
Michael George, followed by Charlotte Bionteri, then Neil Kohansky, then Lucy Petit.
Hello, I'm Charlotte, and I'm here to remind you that your duty as public servants is to serve the people. And we, the people of Pasadena, are telling you that we want our city to divest and not be complicit in the death and suffering of people in the world that we all share. This is not a complicated moral issue. It is about whether Pasadena chooses to profit directly or indirectly from systems that destroy lives and communities. As a young person, I shouldn't have to grow up knowing my city's money could be supporting systems that normalize harm, surveillance, and violence instead of protecting people. We need to include mass surveillance in this divestment. It is part of the same system of control and harm, and it should not be separate from the rest. If the city's money is tied up in these industries, then the city is tied in what they do. There is no clean distance between investment and impact. There is responsibility. The world is watching, my generation is watching, and we are watching, and silence is complicity. And human lives should be valued over money every single time. Thank you.
Michael George? No? Neil? Go ahead.
I'm a district resident of, I'm a resident of District 3. I'll read some headlines and passages from news organizations. NPR, Israeli settlers force Palestinian family to exhume and rebury their father. Ramallah, West Bank. Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank dug up the grave of an elderly Palestinian man on Friday and forced his family to remove his body from the cemetery where he had been laid to rest. The United Nations Human Rights Office for the occupied Palestinian territory called the incident despicable, an example of the new level of dehumanization of Palestinians that is happening in the occupied West Bank. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucy Petit, followed by Eric Petit, then Zanya Altubad, then Jennifer Vaughn, Edmund Mandan, Sabrina Jimenez, Ruth Landenberger.
Hello, my name is Lucy. I'm 18 years old. I attend school in Pasadena. I am the great-granddaughter of Jewish Holocaust survivors. I am imploring the city council to divest from all companies that support the genocide in Palestine. The people here tonight who have said that BDS is somehow anti-Semitic, what is the potential correlation between that? I can say that it is blatantly untrue and frankly ridiculous to say that passing this resolution is in any way anti-Semitic. It does not foster prejudice against Jews to divest from weapons manufacturing and fossil fuels. But what I really want to say is how many more people in this room will receive a phone call that their loved one has been bombed with the money that Pasadena has put into weapons manufacturing? How many more kids will die because of the inaction of this council? How many times must a man look up before he sees the sky? How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died?
Ma'am,
How
your
many
time.
more?
And thank you. Just to very briefly clarify something that was stated earlier, is that we don't currently invest in weapons manufacturers, and we'll be memorializing that and making sure that we don't. Can we continue not to? Thank you.
Eric Petit, followed by Zania Altubad.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Rivas and members of the council. I'm here as the husband of a Jewish spouse, the father of two beautiful Jewish children, one of whom you just heard from, and as an attorney as well. To be clear, the proposed ethical investment policy does not single out Israel, as some have claimed, and could not possibly be interpreted to violate Section 2010 of the Public Contract Code. The policy would confirm a commitment by the city not to invest in companies that facilitate genocide anywhere, including but not limited to the genocide that Israel is currently committing in Gaza. Ethical investment policies are legal, they're effective, and they're moral. One way or the other, you'll be making a statement by your vote. And I respectfully request that you use this opportunity to speak with a unified voice against genocide. Thank you.
Zania Altubad, Jennifer Vaughn, Edmund Mandan, Sabrina Jimenez, Ruth Landenberger, Stuart Miller, and Esty Chandler.
I just want to go to my grandmother's house. My grandmother's house is in Jerusalem. It's across from the Knesset, and I don't know which one it is because I have never been there. I will discriminate and have a problem with any individual or government who steals my family's home, who steals my land, who steals the ability for me to understand my own culture. And that is including and not limited to Israel. And for anybody here who has been invited to Israel, maybe you can go see my grandmother's house.
Jennifer Vaughn.
You can go see my grandmother's house.
Ma'am.
And I'd like you to please tell me how it is, because I cannot.
Jennifer Vaughn.
Thank you. Good evening. I attend All Saints Church in Pasadena. I express support for passing a stricter ethical investment policy. The genocide in Palestine is a reason to adopt a stricter ethical policy. It's about human rights. It's about doing the right thing. Hin Rajab is just one of thousands of children in Gaza that have been killed and suffer immensely. There are many more that are dying every day. As you guys sit here in your desk and live your daily lives, people over there are being killed. We need to do the right thing and take a stand. Experts say that what's going on in Palestine is a genocide. Amnesty International, the United Nations, and many others. There are Israeli organizations that make the same claim. Beit Salem, the physicians for Israeli human rights. Zakra has an office in Tel Aviv. They promote the Nakba and the right of return. This is coming from within
Ma'am, your time is
Israel.
expired. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Edmund Mandan, then Sabrina Jimenez, Ruth Landenberger, Stuart Miller, Esty Chandler, Lucinda Wills, Bailey Payne, Gail Brewer.
I'd like to acknowledge the member organizations of the Pasadena for Palestine Divestment Coalition, a multi-faith coalition, the Clergy Community Coalition, the Center for Restorative Justice, the Armenian Bar Association, your neighborhood, All Saints Church, the Pasadena Mennonite Church, the Church We Hope For, Jewish Voice for Peace, the Jewish American Organization, If Not Now, of which I'm a member, the Council of American Islamic Relations, the Friends of Sabil, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, and La Fuente Ministries. Thank you.
Sabrina. Go ahead.
My name is Sabrina Jimenez. I use she, they pronouns. I'm a born and raised Dina kid. My family's been here for over 40 years, so I have a lot of feelings about what the city does. I want to start by acknowledging the land that we stand on, the stolen, unceded land of the Quiche people, right? We are all uninvited guests here. I also want to name that every single issue that has been brought forth today is connected and share a quote with you. When the last tree is cut, the last fish is caught, and the last river is polluted, when to breathe the air is sickening, you will realize too late that wealth is not in bank accounts and that you can't eat money. This quote is from Alanis Obomsawin, an Indigenous person in Canada. As a birth worker, I think about the pregnant, laboring, birthing, postpartum people who are starving, being operated on without anesthesia in Palestine, in Lebanon, and across the world. The reason it's so hard for some folks to recognize genocide is because it's still happening. The Arroyo Seco Project is another facet of genocide. Everything we're doing, and I highly recommend for all of you, in case you can't get creative,
Ma'am, your
to read
time
The
is
End
expired.
of Policing. The problem is not police training, police diversity, or police methods. The problem is policing itself.
Ruth Landenberger.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ruth Landsberger, and I'm a Pasadena resident, and I'm hoping that you guys support the passing of the stricter ethical investment policy. And I just wanted to share that my father was a German-Jewish refugee. He left Germany in 1939 when he was 12 years old, and he used to go to Israel every now and then. He was actually not at all supportive of the Palestinians. And then one time he went with an interfaith council group from Chapel Hill, where he lived, and he completely changed after he went to the West Bank. He befriended Palestinians, physicians, leaders in the community, and I just saw a huge change. So you guys could go with the Interfaith Council if there is one here.
Stuart Miller, followed by S.T. Chandler, then Lucinda Wills, then Bailey Payne, Gail Brewer, Clark Lindstone, Jesse Duker, Terry Stein, Ellie Grossman.
I'm Stuart Miller. I'm a past president of the Jewish Federation of San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys and currently on their board. I'm also past president of Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center and currently on their board. And similar to you, I was elected to my position, so you must understand that I represent many more community members and voters than just myself. There are different perspectives in the Middle East, just like we have here in our own country. Not all of us agree with our own national policies. But that does not necessitate anyone singling out singling out companies that do business all over the world just because they also do business in Israel. And I and those I represent strongly oppose the city of Pasadena singling out Israel and taking a BDS or a biased ethical investment approach against only Israel. This is purely a political anti-Semitic move from the other side, and I'm happy to hear from you that
So your time has expired. S.D. Chandler, followed by Lucinda Wills, then Bailey Payne, Gail Brewer, Clark Linston, Jesse Duker, Terry Stein. Go ahead.
I'm here today in support of the proposed ethical investment policy and want to see Palestine and genocide included, as that is also clearly desired by the majority of your constituents, Pasadena patrons, workers, and stakeholders who have testified over these many, many, many months about their strong desire to see just that. We are unlike the opposition, which is relying on profit-driven corporations and national Israel lobby organizations with deep pockets and giant email lists like AIPAC with very little connection to this community or the city of Pasadena to sway you. Pasadena acknowledges the Armenian genocide and has divested from South Africa on the basis of apartheid. The supporters of this ethical investment policy and Palestine also care about Pasadena's legacy and the legacies of our representatives, and we hope you will make a decision that we all can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lucinda Wills. I may not look like it, but I'm a native Deanan, born and raised in South Pasadena and now a resident of District 4. I and my 4 siblings were brought up in an environment of civic engagement. My mom was active in the League of Women Voters and South Pas City Council meetings. My dad, Jack Wills, was a professor of Chinese history for 40 years at USC and an active member of the Pasadena Sister Cities Committee after he retired. Passing an ethical investment policy is unarguably a good thing at any time, but the reason we have been advocating it for over a year now grew out of our outrage at the genocide in Gaza. I am sure that if my parents were alive today, they would be standing with me and all of us. We refuse to have any financial ties with entities that support genocide in any way. Please do not hesitate to add language in this ethical investment policy that acknowledges that some U.S. companies have facilitated war crimes in Gaza and Palestine and now southern Lebanon, and that Pasadena wishes to distance itself from any possible complicity.
Bailey Payne, followed by Gail Brewer, Clark Linston, Jesse Duker, Terry Stein.
Hi, City Council. My name is Bailey Payne. I live in Pasadena and I work at Fuller Seminary. I appreciate you all hearing us out tonight and over the past year and a half or so. I'll be frank, I don't think any of us envy your job. But I'm here supporting this ethical investment policy. I appreciate the companies that it names, that we would not invest in the future. I understand the city doesn't have any investments, but I also specifically appreciate this policy, would recommend to the FPRS board to adopt the same ethical investment policy that the city has, of which I understand it's a separate board, a separate entity, but it is overrun by the city, so it makes sense to me that we would have the same ethical investment policy there. Also, just as someone who's been organizing with this campaign, this has been completely grassroots. Like, we've just volunteered our time, and we've specifically stayed in Pasadena to collect all of our petition signatures, letter writing campaigns, art nights. Everything has been locally in Pasadena, and everything that's coming to you has been from people who are physically in Pasadena. So this is Pasadena telling you this is what we
Your
want.
time is expired.
Thank you.
Gail Brewer, followed by Clark Linston, Jesse Duker, Terry Stein, Eli Grossman, Veronica Anderson, Kava Niani, and Rita Capadia.
Over the last 2 years, the council has been compelled to devote extraordinary time and energy to a matter that falls far outside the normal mission of municipal government. Just because the activists have had the right to promote their campaign against Israel in this chamber doesn't mean it wasn't abusive. It was. The anti-Israel divestment campaign was never really about affecting the war in Gaza. This has instead been part of a much broader national and international movement that uses local institutions, city councils, school boards, campuses, pension boards as performance stages for political theater designed to isolate, stigmatize, and ultimately delegitimize the Jewish people, historic homeland, and their connection to it. Step by step, meeting by meeting, demonstration by demonstration, the goal is normalization, making hostility towards the world's only Jewish state seem respectable, ordinary, even morally
Ma'am, your
required.
time has expired. Clark Lindstone, Jesse Duker, Terry Stein, Eli Grossman, Veronica Anderson, Kava Niani, Rita Capadia, Peter Braun, Ash Smith. Go ahead.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Rivas and members of City Council. My name is Clark Lindstone. I'm a Pasadena resident and in Mr. Lyons' district. I'm also serve as president of the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, a congregation that's been part of Pasadena community for over 100 years. Our synagogue was completely destroyed in the Eaton Canyon fire, leaving only a portion of a perimeter wall standing. Like so many families and institutions in Pasadena and Altadena, we're working to rebuild. I am here to address the potential changes in the investment policy and support the changes as recommended earlier this evening. It's important that it not single out a single country such as Israel and become a BDS measure, which we would strongly support. In January, anti-Semitic graffiti was sprayed on the only remaining wall of our synagogue. That incident was painful to our community and a reminder of the rising hostility Jews are facing locally and nationally. Pasadena should work to strengthen community and not deepen divides. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse Duker, Terry Stein, Eli Grossman, Veronica Anderson. Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jesse Duker. I'm a volunteer for the Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley. I'm personally connected to this conflict in many ways, including having 2 of my family members murdered by Hamas. I am absolutely positively committed to the ideals of peace. I wish to see an independent Palestinian state in our lifetime. I should mention, as we talk about peace, that Israel has achieved peace with so many nations. With Egypt, with Jordan, hundreds of thousands of people used to die in these wars between these 2 nations. They don't die anymore because there's no more terrorism and declarations to destroy the state of Israel from Egypt and Jordan. That's why there's no more wars. And one day there will be no more war with the Palestinians when they stop trying to destroy the only Jewish state. I'm thankful for the council for rejecting BDS. The Jewish Federation is neutral on the ESG policy. Whether that's good policy or not, I don't know.
Your time has expired.
Lastly, Caterpillar went up 60% in 6 months.
Terry Stein, followed by Eli Grossman.
Good evening. This is not a BDS resolution. As anyone who's read the resolution sees, it calls for divestment from fossil fuels, weapons manufacturers, private prisons, and now tobacco. It singles out companies, not nation states, based upon their behavior, not where they operate, not their ownership. This is simply about behavior. I would like to see mass surveillance added to it because I feel that it comports with the city's stated commitment to immigrants and immigrants' rights. I would like to see a prohibition on companies who are engaged in genocide, but we don't have to call out Israel. There are genocides happening all over the world. You can create and craft a resolution that divests from people involved in the machinery of death that will touch the genocides in Congo, in South Sudan, the genocide being waged against the Uyghurs. We are here in support of collective liberation.
Ma'am, your time has
the
expired.
policy is a policy of peace. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eli Grossman, and I'm a lifelong Pasadena resident. I'm also a Jewish American and a proud member of Jewish Voices for Peace, which is why I'm here today to support the divestment resolution. All Pasadenans, whether we're Jewish, Palestinian, American, none, or all of the above, benefit from living in a world where might does not make right, where universal human dignity and rights law is respected, and where civilians are protected regardless of their race, religion, or nationality. We have both an interest in and a responsibility to contribute to realizing this world. Today, for you all on the City Council, meeting this responsibility as Americans means refusing present and also potential future investments in any global arms manufacturer that continues to arm bigots, tyrants, and war criminals, including Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. I want to thank Vice Mayor Rivas and Councilmember Rick Cole for their courageous advocation for this resolution so far, and I hope the rest of the council follows their example and votes in favor. Thank you.
Followed by Kava Nieni, Rita Capadia, Peter Braun, Ash Smith, Nicholas Rabe, Taylor Ermonian, Robert Nolte, and then Humera. Sorry for the names. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Veronica Anderson. I'm a member of the Board of Directors at Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, and I had a statement prepared, but I feel it's worth mentioning. I'm a member of J Street, which wants to see a Palestinian state and an Israel state. The BDS movement was created with the explicit intent of eliminating the only Jewish state in the world, not creating peace between Palestinians and Israelis. Opening this door will only give succor to other forms of hate and bigotry. When one form of hate is allowed, other forms, such as racism, soon follow. Open dialogue and genuine collaboration is what will bring about lasting and meaningful change, not BDS. If you actually care about creating peace, both with your Jewish neighbors and on a global scale, please do not vote for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Kava Nieni, followed by Rita Capadia. Maybe I'm getting that wrong.
My name is Kava Nieni. I'm speaking on behalf of myself. First of all, I just wanted to thank every single activist that for the last 2.5 years came back week after week, and there's a reason that we're here for this resolution. There's a reason that we're talking about Palestine is because of every single of you guys, so thank you. And when it comes to us, on this side, this is a free country. You have a right to be a genocide denier. You even have a right to be a genocide supporter. I wish you had the guts to own it. But when it comes to the city council, just remember one thing. This is a line that we drew. This is a vote that is not just every other vote, and we're looking at you. And this vote is not something that we forget. We have members here who lost more than 150 members of their family. These are our family. If you business with a genocidal regime, you're a genocidal supporter. If you business with someone who's a mass killer, you are complicit to mass killing of children. 30,000 of them. Double
Sir,
the
your
number
time
of the
has
Pasadena
expired.
School District. Free Palestine.
Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm a Pasadena resident. I'm here in support of the resolution and to advocate that it articulates in its investments do not support, enable, or profit from genocide against Palestine or mass surveillance. As reflected tonight, public funds are not just financial tools, but a direct reflection of the public's values. And yet, there is a deepening chasm between our collective values and material needs and the will of our public officials at all levels to represent them. I urge you to disrupt this tonight. I leave us all with a quote from writer Omar El-Akkad. One day, when it's safe, when there is no personal downside to calling a thing what it is, when it's too late to hold anyone accountable, everyone will have always been against this. Thank you, and free Palestine.
Peter Braun, followed by Ash Smith, then Nicholas Robb, then Taylor Ermoyan.
Yes, thank you, City Council members. My name is Peter. My name is Peter Braun, long-time resident of Pasadena, Steve Madison's district. Thank you, Steve. I'm a long-time member of Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, and a long-time member of our Social Justice Committee. We face a challenge here. I look to all of you as City Council members to be focused on the issues of our city, the issues of every day. It hurts me to see that Israel indeed is being singled out when we look at so many tragedies in the world. I'm a long-time member of national organization J Street. Its motto is pro-Israel, pro-peace, pro-democracy. We should focus on that which is positive. And
Your time has expired.
Thank you. And as a long-time
Ash Smith.
member of Human Relations Commission, thank you.
Ash Smith? No? Okay. Nicholas?
Thank you so much to the council for hearing me again. I want to express my support for the approval of the amendment to the city's investment policy and thank my counselor, Councilor Cole, for his stance on it. However, I also urge the council to consider adding to the list of prohibitions companies involved in mass surveillance, as well as genocide in Palestine and any genocide, period. When we fund and support systems and methods of mass violence, they always come back to us. The tactics of dehumanization that allowed the Holocaust to happen were then ironically used by Israel to try and hide and justify genocide in Gaza. Adolf Hitler actually cited US methods of racist segregation and immigration law as inspiration for Nazi law. Weapons developed for and used to bomb Palestine, made by US tech companies, are literally being used by ICE to police our streets. Our decisions today matter. When we build and invest in systems of violence, we are spelling our own doom later on. It's easy to look at the violence over there and say, it's not my problem, until it is your problem. Then you realize that if you'd stopped it then, you wouldn't be dealing with all this now.
Your time has expired. Thank you. Taylor Ermoyan. Sorry, I keep
Good
on-
evening. Yes, my name is Taylor Ermoyan.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry. I'm representing also Pasadena Mennonite Church. I too, like many other people in this room, am a survivor of the Armenian genocide, in which my great-grandfather was the only survivor. To this day, genocide remains unacknowledged by its perpetrators in Turkey. This denial actively contributes to ongoing violence, land loss, death, and ethnic cleansing occurring in Armenia today. Budgets are proclamations of value in our beliefs. It shouldn't be controversial to commit and divest from arms, private prisons, fossil fuels, surveillance, and drugs that poison our communities both near and far. I lived in Palestine for a year doing work in peace and humanitarian work. During this time, I would daily reflect that if I was killed, whether it be at a checkpoint, a stop and frisk, or a stray bullet or bomb, that my tax dollars would have funded my own death. Please, let's be brave.
Robert Nolte, followed by Humera, then Darren Copeland, then Brian Berry, Emmanuel Nahara, Steven Steinberg, Anthony Manusos, Jill Shook, Teresa W. And some of those are virtual. Go ahead.
I want to thank the City Council for everything that you do. I want to be clear, I'm asking for the policy to mention genocide and to mention the FPRS, direct the FPRS to act accordingly. If you don't include the pension fund, then it's purely symbolic and I'd rather it have a little more teeth. I won't reiterate any of the arguments. I'll just say the reason that I feel we should be mentioning genocide now is because the last 2 years have been unprecedented, watching this genocide unfold before us on our televisions. And I don't think you should mention Israel and Palestine in the resolution. I think genocide has been normalized by the way the world has treated this conflict between Israel and Gaza, and we don't know where the next genocide is going to be in 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Humera, followed by Darren Copeland, then Brian Berry, Emmanuel Nahara, Steven Steinberg, Anthony Manousos.
Yeah, I am here with documentation to show that the emails that you received in support of this in support of the resolution are overwhelmingly local. I sent you a spreadsheet that shows the city where they're from. Out of these, I don't know how many, I lost count. Only 11 are out of state on all of these pages. The vast majority are local. The vast majority are from Pasadena and surrounding communities. On the other, I also sent you copies of this, which are people, all volunteers collected. And if you note in this last column, almost every single person noted their connection to Pasadena. So these are people from Pasadena, or people who work here, or shop here, or have family here. You cannot say the same about the emails that you got against. I will tell you, I filed a public records request for the emails that were sent in December. None of those people, and I have the documentation, provided where they were
Your
from.
time has
because
expired.
they were not from Pasadena or anywhere near.
Darren, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Darren Copeland, and I'm speaking on behalf of Jewish Voice for Peace, Greater Los Angeles, progressive anti-Zionist Jewish organization with over 30,000 members in the greater LA area. We, of course, support this ethical investment policy before you today, and thank those that brought it forward. As we all know, the Israeli government, military are upholding this brutal system of domination and genocide that is causing greater destruction throughout the region, and our communities are helping fund it across the whole United States. We're here to say, not in our name, not with our money. Holding Israel accountable is not singling it out. It is applying the same standard we should apply to every nation. What singles Israel out is a continued allowance for it to act as an exception. As a Jewish person, I believe these actions of the Israeli government are not making any of us safer. The technologies and exchanges are now being used here in our own immigrant communities. It's creating increasing issue and for all of us, especially under this fascist government. You know, the public investment should reflect the values of the community. We've heard here today, amazing grassroots organizing, not corporate funds and lobbyists that have put this effort forward.
Mr. Copeland, your time has expired.
Thank you.
Brian Berry, followed by Emmanuel Nahara.
Mayor and council members, thank you for updating the city's investment policy today. My family has called Pasadena home for over 100 years, so I'm deeply committed to the community and its values. I wholeheartedly support the proposal as it's written, and I would ask you respectfully to add genocide. Add language forbidding investments in companies that support and sustain acts of genocide. I wanted to share a story of George Takei in his book, They Called Us Enemy. A Quaker named Herbert Nicholson would take books from Roman's bookstore to Manzanar and distribute them. He showed courage. At that moment, many people in the United States were supportive of Japanese internment. He showed courage in the face
Mr.
of
Berry, your time has
adversity, and
expired.
I'd like to see you show the same type of courage. Thank you.
Emmanuel Nahara. Are you
Hi.
Steven Steinberg?
I am, yes.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, Netanyahu's a war criminal. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. That said, I was talking to people outside, so I said, well, the Israelis have done this. What about the Chinese and the Uyghurs? And the response was, we don't care about the Chinese. That's what we're talking about. Yes, that's what he said. What we're talking here is racism. If we were really talking about genocide, we'd be talking about the Chinese. We'd be talking about, frankly, the United States. We'd be talking about the Turks. We'd be talking about everybody. But instead, only thing people want to talk about is Jewish people. That's what we're talking about here is racism. Because otherwise we talk about everyone else, just like the person outside is, we don't care about them. We must care about everyone. That said, this is a clearly illegal act under the Unruh Act, and this will open up litigation against the city. It costs us a bunch of money.
Emmanuel Nahara.
Hello, City Council, Vice Mayor. I know in the position you guys are in, it's hard. I'm not a city council member, but I am a board member. It's hard. It's very hard when it's a lot of both sides are very extreme to a point. I will feel better if you kind of ask the voters what we decide, because having people come to a city council meeting only encourages other people to come and just berate you guys for 2 years. I mean, if the people of Pasadena really want it, they'll vote for it. That's my only concern. If you do vote for it, that's on you guys. I mean, we as the voters hold you responsible. If vote for it, against it or not, but I better give it to the people because everybody answers to the people. And I do recommend Madison's recommendation that he said at the beginning of the consent item about waiting for the mayor. Thank you.
We're now going to go to virtual commenters. Anthony Manusos, followed by Jill Shook, then Teresa W.
Greetings, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Wonderful. Mayor and City Council members, my name is Anthony Manusos. I'm a District 1 resident, and I strongly support the Legislative Policy Committee's recommendations that the city prohibit investments in weapons manufacturers, fossil fuel companies, and private prisons. I also urge you to expand the ethical investment resolution to include companies that profit from genocide. This includes, but is not limited to, the genocide taking place in Gaza. I don't use the term genocide lightly. I'm a Quaker, and I agree with 8 Quaker major organizations worldwide that issued a statement last year calling what is happening genocide. They wrote, "We believe with moral clarity and in line with the definition of the crime of genocide that the current actions in Gaza perpetuated by the Israeli government constitute the crime of genocide." Our city rightly took a stand on the Armenian genocide and apartheid in South Africa. So I urge you to include genocide in your
time has
ethical
expired.
investment policy so it reflects the values that I cherish.
Jill
Thank you.
Shook, followed by Teresa W., then Jason Moss, then Nayeli Hivner. Jill, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
My name is Jill Shook, and I'm District 1. This policy is not about singling out Israel or racism. It is about singling out any investments that support genocide. Real dollars are being invested now by our police and fire department, not symbolic dollars. This is not about making foreign policy at the local level. It's about a city having integrity and consistently in support of life and liberty. While this policy is not intended to provide guidance for the city Section 115 trusts, the city and fire retirement system assets, nor any other funds invested outside the city cash pools, it should include these entities because you oversee the fire and police departments. Please be courageous and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa W., followed by Jason Moss, then Nayeli Hivner, Anne Marie Ote, then Jacob Harkey. Teresa?
Hi.
Hi, go
my
ahead.
name is Hi, my name is Teresa. I'm a PCC student, environmental advocate, and inspiring teacher, and I'm in support of this investment policy and healthy dialogue. In 2024, our newspaper discovered PCC Foundation's investments in Lockheed Martin and Big Oil. Many of us were disturbed our scholarships were indirectly funded by war, but not surprised. This led to 2 walkouts, totaling over 300 students who wanted transparency. This policy will set generational precedents. The military is one of the world's largest polluters. There are alternative investment portfolios. I'm Chinese American, but I am against authoritarian China's abuse of Uyghurs. Young Pasadenans especially care about the city's legacy. I stand with all students here today. Please stand. I'm only 19. I love Pasadena with all my heart. I want my legacy to value all lives, including Iranians, including Palestinians. I hope Pasadena's legacy can do the same. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Jason Moss. Are you there? You're muted. Could you unmute? Are you there?
Of the Jewish Federation
There we go.
of the Greater San
Jason,
Gabriel and
do you want to start
Pomona
over? Because you were.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. I'm Jason Moss. I'm the Executive Director of the Jewish Federation of the Greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there with you tonight speaking in person, but I'm up in Sacramento with 700 Jewish people lobbying on issues that Jewish values. What has been happening at the council for the last 2 years when the city voted not on a resolution, but on a statement, is combating anti-Semitism. That is the issue that we are confronted with. The Jewish community has been seeing that increase, and issues like this being brought before the council is alarming and concerning for the Jewish community, because we, people in Pasadena and the Greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys, are the target of the anti-Israel and anti-Jewish sentiment that has risen. I urge the council to take the recommendation of the legislative policy exactly as it is and not single out Israel in order to prevent the continued increase of anti-Jewish
Your time
and
has
anti-Israel
expired.
sentiment.
Nayeli Hibner, followed by Anne Marie Ote, then Jacob Harkey, and I believe that will be the last public commenter on that. I got to double check. Nayeli?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Nayeli Hibner. I am here representing the Clergy Community Coalition, where I am the advocacy coordinator, but I am also here as a community member who is raising my children in District 2 in Councilman Cole's district. I would like to express our support on behalf of the CCC and my families of the Legislative Committee suggestion of an ethical investment policy. As a committed follower of the ways of Jesus, we believe that the city should not invest in companies that profit from fossil fuels, genocide, war, private prisons. Just as the city of Pasadena voted to divest and bar investment from companies profiting from apartheid in the 80s on the grounds of morality, it can do so again. This is not a symbolic move, but rather a strategic action of nonviolent resistance pioneered by the likes of Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King, for the purpose of applying strategic pressure. It was this kind of mounting pressure that had a direct influence on ending the apartheid in South Africa. I have spent extensive time in this region, in the Levant, in southern Lebanon, that is now—
Nayeli, your time has expired.
I urge the council to vote to divest in companies that are profiting from death. Thank you.
Thank you. Anne Marie Ote.
Good evening. My name is Anne Marie Odie. I am a longtime Pasadena resident and activist. I urge you to approve the language as it was expressed this evening by the analyst and not to add to it in any way. It is very clear that the discussion of genocide as a criterion for this policy is simply at this moment a backdoor way to avoid the legal requirement of the state of California that these policies not single out any particular country. Clearly, the goal of this addition is to single out Israel. In future decades, when I certainly hope we have peace in this region, we will look back on this time and ask ourselves, why did we single out Israel? Why are we singling out the world's only Jewish nation? Please ask yourself that before you make any changes to this policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Jacob Harkey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
I am urging you to adopt the ethical investment policy. Israel has been credibly accused of genocide by leading genocide scholars. Israeli politicians have openly expressed their genocidal intent. The Israeli military has been documented targeting hospitals, targeting journalists, and targeting children. And throughout all of this, the United States has continued to fund the state of Israel unconditionally. While we may not have the power to alter the budget of the federal government, we do have the power to influence the investment policy of the cities in our community. While Israel commits war crimes with effective impunity, everyone of conscience has an obligation to take action to oppose it. With this in mind, I strongly urge you to pass the ethical investment policy to ensure that the city of Pasadena does not involve itself financially in crimes against humanity, including but not limited to the genocide of the Palestinian people. Thank you.
That completes public comment on this item.
Thank you. I see we have several council members in the queue. I'd like to share a few comments just to kick off the discussion, and then I'll turn to, I believe it's Councilmember Hampton and Councilmember Masuda. I wanted to first acknowledge all the residents who have been coming out month after month for some time now. I am inspired by your peaceful activism in the face of violence and destruction beyond comprehension, and that continues to this day. I admire that you're trying to use all peaceful means necessary to call attention to it and our own government's complicity in it. Second, I want to thank those who have come out in opposition. Your voice also matters, and we hear your concerns. Finally, I want to thank my colleagues on the Legislative Policy Committee. Even if you had reservations about engaging in the request from members of the public, and you represent those who also feel similarly, you're still willing to find common ground and something that we can all agree on. And I think that's what we did, we were able to achieve at the Legislative Policy. It amends our ethical investment policy in a way that affirms our shared values. We are, of course, committed to going carbon-free by 2030, so we shouldn't have any investments in fossil fuels, which we don't. We detest violence everywhere, including by our own government or supported by our own government, and so we shouldn't invest in weapons manufacturers or the prison industrial complex. And we, of course, support public health, so we shouldn't invest in tobacco. Again, thankfully, we don't invest in any of those things, and we will memorialize that to make sure that continues to be the case into the future. So I'd now like to turn to my colleagues to have a very focused discussion on the policy. We as the Pasadena City Council aren't going to solve any matters of foreign affairs tonight, probably never. So if we can focus our comments on the policy and any suggestions or questions or comments you have, now would be the time. So I will turn to Councilmember Hampton.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, for opening it up, and I'd also like to thank all of the community members who have come here and spoken over the past 2 years, actually even longer. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank the mayor for acknowledging and having also sent to Ledge Policy and Ledge Policy, especially for really threading the needle and getting a policy, I believe, that expresses the values of the people of Pasadena and our collective community. So there's a couple of organizations that were left out, and maybe it's because we do the investment, but I think that they should also be included, which is the PCAC, the PCOC, and the RBOC. And so when the time is right, I'd like to motion to make sure that those boards are also included.
I'll turn to our staff. That issue didn't come up at the committee. I don't know how their finances are arranged. Do they hold funds in the same way the city does, such that it would be applicable? If it is, by all means, it should be included, yeah.
Yes. Actually, PCOC and RBOC's funds are invested within the city's pooled investment portfolio. So whatever the city's investment policy dictates, their funds, follow the same policies.
Okay.
They don't invest funds separately on their own.
So they would be covered under this policy?
They will be covered under policy, yes.
And so would it just be redundant to add that in, or? Okay, but I'm just thinking if anybody is reading it, it just may be helpful so that it doesn't push over to the PCOC, the RBOC, and the PCAC. I think it's just to put it out there to say that these organizations are also invested in the city's pool. Could that be in the policy to say that?
Is it stated elsewhere in any financial documents we have? Or?
Not specifically, unless they decide to handle investment on their own. But the practice is, for as long as I know, that those funds are invested within the pool, because the investment pool handles or invests the funds for over 130 funds, including PCOC and RBOC. So there's 130 funds that the pooled investment. So Unless we mention all of them, or maybe specifically PCOC and RBOC, we can do that.
That would be helpful.
In the investment policy, we can add that.
I think that would be helpful, and it would clarify a lot.
Certainly.
And I'd like to make that motion when time is appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Masuda?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I want to thank everyone for coming out today and letting us know what your opinions are about this particular topic. The Ledge Policy Committee, which I sit on December 18th, we discussed the investment policy position, and there was a request to consider a boycott and divestment and doing business with Israel. Ledge Policy acknowledged that there were no support to pursue a boycott and divestment from Israel. The question for me is, can one thing lead to another? Which I believe it can. And the reason why I'm sensitive, especially to hate, in 1940s, it started in California, including our governor, then Congress in Washington, the Supreme Court, then President Franklin Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066 to force the removal and incarcerate 120,000 Japanese American residents. 2/3 were citizens of America. And they forced them to go into concentration camps, sometimes known as internment camps. Today, young people don't even believe that this happened. The internment camps of U.S. citizens. Was it even possible? But it did happen. It started with hate speech. Hate speech, like we've heard in this room many times, not from everyone, but from many. Vice Mayor, if we vote today, I will be voting against this investment policy.
Can I ask you that? Do you think the policy has hate speech? We're simply affirming that we're not investing in weapons manufacturers, fossil fuels, or tobacco.
When I said one thing could lead to another is the reason why I'm against this, because it sounds like it's not offending, but it can be, because there could be other amendments following it that I'm concerned about.
Okay, I respect your position. I respectfully disagree, and we'll continue the discussion.
Thank you.
Councilmember Madison?
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I have some questions, and then I don't know if you want me to comment now or we do another round, or I don't know if others have questions.
Now's the time for everything, so go
Okay,
at it.
Great. And I do want to acknowledge Councilmember Masuda's comments. I do share some of the same concerns, and I'll get to that in my comments. And I'm very proud that our city was, I believe, the first in California to declare Fred Korematsu Day, recognizing the very brave Japanese American who fought our government and ultimately was vindicated by that dreadful period of internment. But my questions are, the proposal is that we not invest in companies that engage in the production of fossil fuel, weapons manufacturing, tobacco, or private prisons. Do we today invest in any such companies?
The short answer is no, and Olympic is running up there.
I'd take a no.
No,
if
we
that's-
don't.
Okay.
Since we adopted in 2021 the ESG policy, we stop investing in.
And is there some need for this action by the council, in your view, in terms of the investment? I mean, are you constantly considering investing in companies like this, or is there some risk that we would invest in companies in these businesses?
The only difference is the existing policy does not specify specifically weapons manufacturing companies. the ESG encompasses and includes the fossil fuel and others, such as oil. But weapons manufacturing was not part of the current ESG because that's a whole different industry.
I don't know, Vice Mayor, you made a comment, and I don't want to put too much weight on it, but about carbon-free by 2030, already contemplating that we wouldn't, as an investor, invest in fossil fuels. And I don't know that I read the policy that way.
That's not what I was saying. I was saying
I apologize.
we've set this goal, and so why wouldn't we also affirm that here in our investment policy?
Yes, and that's helpful, I think. But again, I'm hearing that it may already be in the eyes of staff, the direction in the current ESG policy.
The fossil fuel?
Yes. Sir. Okay. And so what troubles me, I think, is what Councilmember Masuda alluded to is, even though we started tonight's discussion by making clear what was on the table and what wasn't, the legislative record, if you will, is by the proponents is virtually all about Israel and genocide. And I don't want to debate it again tonight. I am not convinced that what's occurring in Gaza, as horrific as it is, and I make no brief for the conduct of the war or for Netanyahu or any actor, but I'm not convinced that that is genocide by the state of Israel. And I can explain why, if helpful.
It's not. I don't
Okay.
think, just because that's not what we're here to discuss,
Great.
and we're
Well,
never going to solve it or agree on it.
It's what we just heard an hour of public comment about.
The members of the public, if I could.
I'm sorry?
We very rarely respond to public comment, and I think it's interesting that tonight we decided.
I think everything we
wanna
do is
respond.
about responding to
If I could
public
just
comment.
level set, the public is going to speak about whatever they want to, and they're entitled to. And we're grateful to hear all the different perspectives and whatever people want to share with us. The policy before us, I think, is very straightforward and one that affirms our values, and so we should focus our discussion on it. And whether it does that, maybe some disagree with that.
Well, I am concerned. You know, I asked for a report about hate crimes in our city, and there have been at least 6 in the last year that were anti-Semitic in nature. There is a dramatic uptick in anti-Semitic behavior, conduct, hate speech. And I'm gravely concerned that on this record, if we take any action, it will be construed in a way that I hope we don't intend and increase the risk to our residents of those episodes. We welcome all cultures. We condemn no culture or no person for whom they are, what their culture or background is, what their faith or lack of faith is. And the whole tenor of the discussion is, as some of the speakers pointed out, pointed directly at Israel. And I understand those are feelings that run deep and strong. And the fact that there's no mention of what happened on October 7 or Hamas's stated mission of genocide also gives me pause, whether the real goal here is to attack genocide in all of its forms or to condemn the state of Israel. I suspect some of the speakers tonight don't believe the state of Israel has a right to exist. And they haven't spoken to that, so it's speculation. But I share the concerns, especially if what we're being told is the policy isn't really necessary to accomplish anything. For me, that heightens the gravity of the risk that this could be construed as anti-Israel and anti-Semitic.
Rather than debate, I think we had that discussion before about the chair not debating each person, so I'll reserve comments.
Please, and I will listen intently because I value your view greatly, as you know.
I'll turn
and I supported bringing this to the council to have this discussion. So,
Councilmember Jones, next in the queue.
Thanks, Vice Mayor, and thanks to the residents who have come out to voice their opinions on this policy. I support the policy. I support Councilmember Hampton's motion. I think this policy just reaffirms our values about environmental values, which are carbon footprint, energy consumption. It reaffirms our social values and our governance values. So I plan to support the motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Lyon.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I also want to thank everyone for coming out and for the courtesy of listening, and I saw people standing in line who I knew you disagreed with each other and being like courteous and kind and waiting, and I appreciate that because it's a fraught issue for everyone. I really want to thank and congratulate the Legislative Policy Committee for coming up with a policy that is the closest thing to sort of the middle ground where we all can meet together on this, right? So notwithstanding the fact that the conversation came up out of conversations about BDS, about sanctions, about specific companies, our response to that was to find the place where we could meet. And I don't think there's support here for taking a stand on Israel itself. But I think these are values we share kind of across the board, that we don't, and in fact, as Mr. Hawksworth already said, this is, it's an articulation of an existing policy. It's just a further articulation. We don't invest in fossil fuels. We don't invest in weapons. We don't invest in tobacco. And then we're adding private prisons, which I think is incredibly important. The fact that it came up out of a conversation about Israel does not mean that it points at Israel, and particularly on the record where we are clearly saying it doesn't. And so I think you found, I think the committee found the place where we can all fairly meet and where there is a critical mass of support, which when we're doing these sort of values statements is really important. That it's more than just a bare majority of people in the city, but it feels like it's fairly speaking for Pasadena broadly, and I am comfortable with the amendment as written.
Thank you. And just to respond briefly to Councilmember Madison and kind of reiterate what you said, I think I was the one who brought this up at Legislative Policy, and really I was searching for a place that recognizes our shared humanity. We all care for one another. We want us all to live in peace. We are not going to solve these broader issues, but here in Pasadena, we can recognize our values and memorialize them in our policy so that future councils or future staff know, these things are off limits. And it's just black and white. Everyone knows what the policy is moving forward. So I think it's a pretty basic statement of those values. I don't see anything controversial in it. I respectfully disagree that it will lead to anything else, perhaps other than an enunciation of other things that we determine later are also not aligned with our values. Councilmember Cole, I see you're in the queue.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Cole. Do you mind? I just wanted to just briefly respond to Councilmember Madison. I wasn't going to at the time that you made the comments about hate crimes rising, and that is true. Hate crimes are rising across America and Pasadena and in Los Angeles County. But stats from the FBI, just FBI stats, right? These are actual hate crimes that have been convicted. The number one hated group in America is black people, black Americans, African Americans. I'm actually not looking for applause for that, because that shouldn't be a problem. I know you guys aren't applauding that, but I just want to mention that because I think it's important to share that our community as a whole, when one piece of it feels undervalued, one piece of it, we should do the best we possibly can to make sure that everybody feels respected, loved, and cared for in this community. This wasn't about Israel. This is about our values. Every other meeting you mention guns, and we go to public safety and talk about how many ghost guns are on the street. I mean, this is our opportunity to say we're not going to invest in companies that produce weapons. Let's do that. I mean, let's be who you say you are. That's it.
Councilmember Cole.
Thank you. As I suspect my colleagues, I've thought long and hard about what I would say tonight, and hope to be brief. But a lot was said tonight, and some of it moved me deeply. Some of it disturbed me. But I want to focus on, I will call him my friend,
Jason Moss, because I have sat with him and talked about this. He is, as he said, the executive director of the Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley. And he talked about Jewish values. As a Catholic, I would be out of my depth posing as an expert in Jewish values, but I've seen Jewish values in action in my life since I was 13 years old. When I went to the bar mitzvah of my first friend, my best friend, not my first friend. And I grew up idolizing David Ben-Gurion, Golda Meir, Abba Eban, even Levi Eshkol, which is a name no one has ever heard of. And I've seen allies, friends, co-workers, supporters, and role models. And what is happening under the Netanyahu government cannot reflect Jewish values of the way I have experienced them in my life. In my life, Jewish values have always stood for tikkun olam, the repair of the world. I do not single out Israel, what is happening in China against the Uyghurs, what is happening in Myanmar against the Rohingya, what is happening in Sudan against non-Arabs, what is happening in Ukraine with the Russian invasion. People are dying there too. People are being sexually abused there too. People are being denied their rights there too. And I stand with those who tonight who've said that human rights are indivisible. And I deeply believe that if they are indivisible, we should stand against genocide anywhere and everywhere. So I support this policy. It will not go as far as some people would like, and it goes beyond where other people would like. But I agree with my colleague, Councilmember Lyon, that it represents, I think, something we can agree on and something we can build on. And I hope that this will not be the end of this. I don't think this is the right forum. 1 minute to express your opinions gives no one the ability to speak subtly or to speak with compassion and empathy. I think there needs to be dialogue in this community because I would hope that everyone in this room would wish for a just and lasting peace in the Middle East. And building that will not be done by resolutions or it will be done by all of us recognizing the indivisibility of human rights and the ability of the 7 million Jews and the 7 million non-Jews, Palestinians in what used to be Palestine in the colonial era, find a way to live together in peace. That is not something we can direct from this dais, but I think as people of good conscience in this community, we can work together for that. That does affect us in this because we do have connections to the rest of the world, and it's not just gas prices. It is the indivisibility of human rights. I'm proud of the Legislative Committee, as others have spoken, to come up with something I think I can vote for tonight. And I would like it also to include direction to the Fire and Police Pension Board, which I recognize as a member of, is independent from us, but I think we should strongly indicate our sense that we would like them to follow the city's policy as well.
Is that a friendly amendment to the motion? Is
Yes,
that
I
accepted
accept
by
that.
the maker? Okay.
Absolutely.
I accept it.
Is there any? Actually, we're going to get clarification on the motion for the clerk. Go ahead.
So you were approving the staff recommendation, which was to approve the ledge policy recommendation amended to add the city operating companies to the policy. And then with the additional amendment to state a strong preference to the FPRS board to, is that what, or is it direction?
Well, we have no right to order them, but we ask them, it is the council's request that they adopt a similar policy.
I accept that.
Councilor Madison, I see you're in the
I
queue.
just want to follow up because, I fear that part of this legislative record, talking about Jewish values and about genocide, now cement a view that this action will be seen in that context. And I'd like to support it, but I would need a clear statement that that is not what this is about, because I do think the risk of anti-Semitic backlash based on this is real and very, very problematic. So,
if I could point something out that I meant to mention earlier.
Please.
Amongst the public commenters who did understand exactly what it was, there's some folks who thought it was something else, which is fine. There were folks who said, I like what you have here, don't go any further. And then there are also folks who said, I like what you have here, don't take anything away from it. I think we've reached that middle ground where it is very clear we are stating something that we all share these values and what we're stating here. So I think the record is clear that there's nothing more, nothing less to this policy. Go ahead, Councilmember Lyon.
Well, it's just as a point of clarification, and he's not here to speak for himself, but I understood Jason Moss from the Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel Valley to say that they were supportive of the language as written.
Right.
So which I really took to heart. So I don't think that's helpful at all.
As did I, Mr. Lyon.
So there's no need for reference to genocide or Jewish values.
There is none in the
Thank you.
In the item. Yeah.
Are you questioning my right to speak, Mr. Madison?
No, I asked the chair a question. And
you asked her whether it was necessary for me to make the comments I made?
No, to this legislative action, is that a necessary predicate? If so, tell us what genocide you're speaking about, Mr. Cole.
I did reference several, if you were listening. I mentioned
was
one in
listening
China.
Carefully.
I mentioned one in China. I mentioned in Myanmar. I mentioned in Sudan. So
that's what this is aimed at?
No.
Okay.
You got the answer, which is that is not part of this. The word genocide is not part of this.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
I raised genocide because I think we could all agree that genocide is wrong.
Well, I should hope so. I mean, absolutely.
Are there any further comments or questions on the motion? Are there any objections to the motion?
Sorry, just the mayor had been texting me. He just wanted to note that he was sick, and that's why he couldn't be here tonight, and that while he'd like to participate and understands that he can't continue because there's such a big crowd, that he understands that it needs to proceed, but he just wanted to note that he was sick, and that's why he couldn't be here.
Okay.
Just letting you know that.
Thank you for sharing.
So I did inquire if there's an appetite for making clear that this is not aimed at any particular nation, any particular conflict, that this is a general policy further to the ESG policy that we adopted in 2021.
I think the
Can we
record's
make
clear.
that part of the motion? I would ask the maker in the second. You want to?
Sorry,
I was asking if we can make as part of the motion that this is not aimed at any particular conflict or any particular nation. I think that protects us from being misconstrued in ways that could be harmful and helps us steer clear of the anti-BDS language in the state code.
I think if anybody reads it, they'll see that.
So
I think it's clear enough.
no problem clarifying that and including it in the motion.
I'm not interested in it, except unless you want to make a substitute motion.
I'm just asking if you would consider a friendly amendment to make clear this isn't aimed at any particular nation. As Mr. Cole, I think, said, there are many
You've already
places.
said that's on the public record. I think anybody who wants to take the time out to watch 3 hours worth of tape, they can figure that out too. But I mean, it's in the policy. So it doesn't say that in the policy. So I think
You're not willing to make it part of the motion?
No.
Okay.
Are there any objections to the motion?
I will object, Vice Mayor,
Seeing,
based on those comments.
we'll do a roll call then.
Councilmember Cole?
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton? Yes. Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
No.
Councilmember Masuda? Vice Mayor Rivas?
Yes.
Mayor Gordo is absent. The motion passes 5 in favor, 2 against, 1 absent.
We still have, thank you guys for being here. Thank you everybody for being here. We still have more business to conduct, so appreciate
We
it.
do, and thank you. And if I could ask everyone to quietly
Could everybody exit
exit
quietly?
and be
Thank you.
respectful of one another on the way out. We thank you for joining us tonight. Have a good night. But we'll still be here.
Can we go to the first reading since I won't be able to be here for the,
Yes, let's
Okay.
let the room clear. Let's give it 1 minute for the room to clear. If we could ask everyone who's not remaining for the rest of the meeting to clear the room. If you could take your conversations outside, oh, I'm going to bang my gavel now. Got it. Could have everyone clear the room if you're not going to stay for the rest of the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, we're almost ready to continue. All right, we're going to move to the ordinances, items 22, 23, and 24.
yes, all offer them?
We were offering the first ordinance. We have to do one at a time now.
I thought we could do them.
This is an ordinance of the City of Pasadena amending sections 2.05.210 and 2.05.220 of Title II, Chapter 2.05 of the Pasadena Municipal Code regarding the compensation of the mayor and members of the City Council. And it was offered by Councilmember Hampton.
Does anything further need to be read? I have.
And we have a speaker card on this item.
Why don't we hear from the speaker first?
Yadi. Go ahead. Oh, the microphone, please. I'll start your time again.
Hello? Okay. Yes, I'll be brief. I just want to thank the council and the staff for working on the ordinance for the compensation of the mayor and the city council. I appreciate all the work that you did to try to make it equitable and to try to make it so that there's a diverse group of people that are actually serving on the council. But having said that, I would like for the council to possibly take this issue up again in maybe a couple years or so, because it just looks like the responsibility for council members and the mayor and the city are really, really big. And it seems like this being a part-time position makes it very difficult for folks that either have small children or other responsibilities to be able to serve on the council. And I know that was not part of the conversation when this was to be had, when this was going on, but I think that was one of the reasons for having this conversation, is making it so that more people are able to serve on the council. But aside from that, just want to thank you all for your work on this.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? I have some thoughts I did want to share, but if there's anyone else who has any comments or concerns. Seeing none. So I've been wrestling with this ever since we approved the item back in the summer, I want to say. And at the time, I was persuaded by Councilmember Lyons' argument that we should defer to the committee of residents who came up with this. At the time, I also pointed out that I was uncomfortable with the family care reimbursable allowance being $18,000, and that number has just continued to stand out in my mind. That is the amount, roughly, of preschool tuition. My goal in highlighting that at the outset of this process was to separate it from the rest of the allowances so that someone could use it without burning through their other allowance and couldn't hold events. And the staff recommendation that went before the committee, and I think ultimately the council, was to make it only $7,500, which I think is a reasonable amount to cover council meetings. It also is tied to some sort of tax cutoff or issue, and is also aligned, I think, with what staff receives. I continue to be uncomfortable with the size of that. I'm also a little uncomfortable with the raises at this moment, given the projected deficits, but that's less of a concern. It's more the big one that keeps coming up in my mind is the family care reimbursable allowance. So if there's any interest in exploring tonight, reducing it to $7,500 to align with the staff amounts, with those tax reasons that were previously set out, we can always revisit it to increase it in the future. I just feel like we're taking a huge leap in not only separating it, but then increasing it to essentially a year of preschool tuition. Are there any thoughts on that? Councilmember Lyon, you're in the queue. Go ahead.
You're talking about the 18,000?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought I heard 7,500.
Well, my suggestion would be to reduce it to 7,500, which was the staff recommendation.
I mean, I could be on board, but I'm really.
I know.
It goes fast, as you know. Childcare is so expensive, and I'm mindful that at any given time, particularly because service is hard and time consuming, I'm mindful that at any given time, there are only, right now there are only 3 of us with kids young enough to need care. Actually, my mine would argue he's too old to need care. Well, I'm not putting any kids in you're growing Jones's family before he is. I'm comforted by that. I think that there will be a natural restraint built in, although I'm also comfortable revisiting it at some point.
Yeah, that's a great point. Can I ask what the natural cadence is for this coming back to us? Is it every 5 years now? Every 2 years?
So there are two limitations. One is that you cannot amend the ordinance more than once every 2 years, and that the council is directed to convene a committee on council member compensation once every 5 years.
Okay.
So you could put this in place and in 2 years look at it again and make a change at that point. Or you could let the next compensation committee, which will meet in a 5-year period, to look at it then.
Yeah, I think there's also, maybe you're alluding to some wisdom to seeing how this plays out. And if it is too much, we can bring it back down at that point, if we have any data to go on. Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
I appreciate that. Councilmember Hampton?
Actually, I'll remove myself. There's no reason to talk any further about it. I'm good with the way it is.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate hearing out my concerns. I will go along with it as well. Councilmember Madison, please.
Yeah, I mean, I voted no on this, and I expect I'm going to do the same tonight. I continue to have concerns about, guardrails for things like private security apart from the home, equity in terms of council members who have children versus parents, for example, that might need care or other needs. I think the best policy is a level amount of compensation and reimbursement for each council member, irrespective of their own station or needs. I've spanned the entire gamut. My children were 3 and 4, I think, when I came on the city council, and I'll probably qualify for grandchildren care if that was offered at some point here. But I continue to have a lot of concerns about it, especially in a time when we've got a deficit, and I'm just not convinced it's a problem in need of a solution that would offset the risk of the kind of inequity and lack of ethical and other guardrails.
Thank you for that. And I see Alex Soto has joined us, who I believe you can share a little bit about the policy that will come to hopefully give those guardrails that you're concerned about.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Vice Mayor Alex Soto, Deputy City Manager. We do have a draft policy related to reimbursement for members of the City Council. This has actually been a long-standing policy of the City Council for many years. We updated it recently to coincide with the new changes to the council compensation framework. The policy was presented to the Finance Committee back in February, and the plan is to bring it back to the City Council next week to coincide with the second reading of the ordinance on City Council compensation. That policy does address certain guardrails related to dependent care reimbursement. So the way the policy is written, it's not limited to just children dependents, it's elder care dependents, and we do tie the definition of dependent to the IRS definition of dependent, so it matches that closely. And there are certain additional guardrails and parameters related to the use of those dollars. It is restricted to time during which the City Council member is performing City Council business, so it's not a broad reimbursement for childcare during daytime hours, and it does include additional parameters related to the office expense policy allowance that's being implemented along with the policy. So again, that was presented to the Finance Committee. It did receive the support of the Finance Committee, and it will be back before you next week.
Thank you for that.
Well, it'd be helpful to have that policy before us. It sounds like some of us have seen it, some of us haven't. I mean, I would just cite, for example, the latest, report we got on just travel, postage, and printing, and there is such a wide range. Without naming names, one district has spent over almost $72,000 in this fiscal year, and at the opposite end is another that has spent just $1,100. And I'm puzzled why that is when you're talking about, for example, postage, and we always confer with the city attorney and at times the city clerk about there are very strict limitations on the number of mailings and the purposes. So I think there's a bigger conversation here that we should continue having at Ledge Policy.
I think you raised an interesting point about approving the policy with the ordinance. Yeah. Is it intended to bring the policy to the full council ultimately?
Yeah, the recommendation will be for the City Council to adopt the policy via resolution.
I mean, would it make is it going to change your vote if we had them together next week?
It might. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. But I'm not on finance. I don't know if finance has a view of this, if they've already seen the policy, if they think it'll be helpful or not.
I mean, if there's.
I'm on finance. I don't believe we've seen that policy.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no
I
time-
misunderstood. I apologize.
And if it can be delayed by 1 week, so we can have both
It
together?
absolutely can. Respectfully, the policy was presented to Finance Committee along with the provisions of the ordinance. Alex did that.
Okay.
And then it's been a gap since we presented that and brought it here, just for timing purposes. But absolutely, it was sort of, do you want to have the ordinance in place and then do the policy, or do you want to do the policy first and then the ordinance? We were kind of conferred and told it was a better practice to go ordinance first and then policy, but we're happy to reverse and bring first reading next week.
Or it sounds like we can do them both next week.
We could do first reading with the policy,
Right.
and that way you could discuss it.
And if you could, maybe a 5-minute update on the postage, printing, and traveling. I'm truly curious why there would be such a wide range among the different districts on that.
That's a separate issue
Well,
that maybe
maybe it
legislative
is, maybe it
policy
doesn't.
could take up,
Yeah,
at least initially.
yeah.
That's more.
We can take it to ledge policy if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's more a function of budget for the council. The council's budget is part of that, rather than part of the office expenses, which is for
Okay.
specific.
Fair enough, if that's the
So if there's
will of the council.
consensus to push this to next week, and we'll consider it at that time for the first reading along with the policy, am I seeing any, just by consensus? Sound okay? All right. Okay.
So
With the policy.
by consensus, this will come back next week.
Okay. Moving to item 23.
Okay, this is another ordinance. Was that me? Sorry. This is an ordinance of the, ordinance amending Pasadena Municipal Code Title II, Articles 3 and 4 to update provisions regarding term limits and training of members of advisory boards, commissions, committees, and boards of operating companies created by the city council.
Is that Councilmember Cole in the queue? Not me. It's so confusing when you're over there. Go ahead. Yeah, it says I'm in the queue.
I saw him open up your drawer too. Not as honest way.
There, I fixed it.
Is there a second?
Go ahead.
Wait, we don't
Oh,
have-
you were offering?
You're doing the ordinance.
Okay.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
Was that a question, or were you offering the ordinance?
I'd like to suggest a change. We had an extensive discussion here, and Councilmember Madison made a very strong argument in favor of lengthening the number of terms so that we don't lose institutional memory and specialized expertise. And as a principle, I don't disagree with that. I also balance that principle against regular turnover and some degree of opportunity for new voices and more diverse voices to be represented. We ended up with a 4-4 vote at one point. I would like to revisit, rather than move from 2 3-year terms to 3 4-year terms, which means basically doubling the amount of time people can serve on commissions, from 6 years to 12 years, to go to 2 4-year terms, which would mean we would go from 6 years to 8 years rather than to 12 years. I think that balances the desires of Mr. Madison. He may not agree with other desires to have greater diversity and greater turnover on our commissions. Mr. Madison made a good point that 12 years coincides with our term limits, but I see a difference between the city council, where people are elected by the people and they have their own term limits, and our commissions. So with that change, I would offer the ordinance.
I'd second that. And this is the comments that I made at the last meeting, so I appreciate Councilman Cole calling that.
I would just note that since it is an ordinance, it would be best to present to the council
The complete ordinance.
the complete ordinance with all the sections that are changed with their terms. So we could bring that back as well if the council directs to do it that way.
So I'll make a motion to that effect, that to bring back a revised ordinance with 2 4-year terms as the limit rather than 3 4-year terms.
Second. 2 4-year terms.
Did you reverse that? No, just now it sounded like you said the opposite of what you said previously.
Didn't mean to.
Okay.
2 4-year terms.
Yeah, so
8 years.
a total of 8 rather than a total of 12 as the ordinance now reads.
Okay. Are there any objections to the motion? I'm sorry. Councilmember Masuda.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. We have Alex in the back.
Sorry, I think we wanted to make sure we understood. Does that apply to commissions only?
Commissions and boards.
Operating companies. To all the bodies.
We might be undoing what you wanted with operating companies. That was the concern.
Well, that's what Mr. Madison wanted, and I respect it. What did you want, sir?
Well, if we're bringing it back, let's bring it back. But I had concerns about operating companies, council member appointments. I thought we had dealt with those. It sounds like maybe we didn't.
Okay, so.
All of these are council member appointments to a large extent.
No, I meant where council members are appointed.
Oh,
to serve on various bodies, yeah.
This would not apply to council members, so.
Right.
Okay, so that's my motion. We'll see.
2 4-year terms instead of 3 4-year terms.
Across the board.
Across the board.
Okay.
And that was made by Councilmember Cole, second by Councilmember Hampton.
I'm okay with that, but I just want to be clear that the discussion last time was the concern about the RBOC and the PCAC, and that maybe longer terms made sense for them because they are harder to fill, and we want people to have a longer time horizon and can share their wisdom. So I just want to make sure before we move forward that if anyone has concerns in that regard, that you voice them at this point.
And Mr. Masuda's.
Yes, go ahead, Councilor Masuda.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. What's the reason for going from a 8-year to from a 12-year to an 8-year? I don't understand. What's the advantage of doing that?
What's the advantage, Mr. Masuda, of going from 6 to 12? Right now, it's 6 years.
Yes.
And this ordinance would make people eligible to serve for twice as long, 12 years. Okay. I'm suggesting instead of going from 6 to 12, we go from 6 to 8.
The advantage is it gives more public participation for our neighbors to be able to be a part of this process as well.
And I think the logic last time was let's go to longer terms, but enforce them. And so we're still doing that. They're just not as long. So we're going to go from 6 to 8 instead of 6 to 12 and be strict about enforcing them.
Okay, but we're still going to talk about it.
Well, it'll be up for, right, we will discuss. It'll be up for first reading next week.
Well,
we'll bring a revised proposed
We're going to
ordinance.
send them back with directions. So, sorry, I interrupted.
No.
Well,
the motion, if we can repeat the motion, I believe, is to change the language to 8 years total across the board and bring that for first reading next week. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, what I'm concerned about, and I've said this many times, and I think you've been in the room, even at ledge policy, concerned about RBOC.
Right.
And and how it runs. It's such an important, commission or it's just I worry about that. That's all, because we have so much concern about our Rose Bowl.
Absolutely. And I know that's been a part of the discussion this whole time.
So I think operating companies need to be talked about a little bit more.
Is there any interest in carving them out in any way? I think we had that discussion and we landed on.
Well, maybe we should carve it out a little bit just to make sure that everybody's comfortable. I don't think of it like a regular commission. That's the reason why, because we've had financial issues with the RBOC in the past, and there's so much stability right now, and I like to keep it, but I will listen to all my colleagues, and we'll try to come up with the best solution.
Thank you. Councilmember Lyon, go ahead.
So thank you, Councilmember Cole, for bringing this up, because I've been very uncomfortable with this change, waiting for the ordinance to come back all along. Just going from 6 years to 12 seemed long. In the interest of building consensus, I would be open to treating the operating companies differently, because they are arguably a sort of more professional appointment, but I would support the change across the board as well. But if that would bring everybody on board and we could all move together, I would also support that change.
You're saying to carve out the RBLC?
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about last time was 8 years for regular commissions and 12 years for the operating companies, on the theory that they're sort of more professional appointments than the other citizen commissions.
Yeah.
And, because they're corporate boards.
And that brings you along, Gene?
If that would bring...
To carve, yeah, to carve out the, RBLC and stuff.
Give me an example.
The 3 operating companies, well, we could do anything we want to do, but we could set it up where the 3 operating companies have 12-year limits, so 3 4-year terms, and citizen commissions are 8-year limits, 2 4-year terms. And I would be fine with that.
Or, this may be a controversial idea, we leave it exactly the way it is.
In the draft?
No, just the way it is now. And then when people's terms are up, we tell them, or every council member, is up to you if you decide you want to have that person continue or not.
We know our track record with that, though. It doesn't have any teeth, and people don't get replaced. Okay.
Mine's good.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody serving since 2008.
I know. Councilor Madison, go ahead.
Yeah, I just kind of knocking the rust off here. Remember that about half of our seats are vacant or not eligible for reappointment right now. So I get there's an element of this to let's all eat our vegetables and do better. But
Mr. Madison, we corrected that last time. It is not half of the commissioners. It's half of those up for reappointment.
Pardon me?
It's half of those up for reappointment. It's not half of our commissioners.
Well, it's a big number, no matter what the denominator is.
Okay.
I've counted over 60 vacancies and not eligible. That's a lot. And some of these vacancies sit there week after week, month after month. And I'm not being critical. I'm just saying it's hard to get people to do the heavy lifting that some of these commissions do. So we shouldn't be clamoring to make it harder.
And in fact, what I've suggested will make service longer than it is now.
Okay, well, let's see how it comes back.
Yeah. And just respectfully to all of us, these are the same exact discussions we
know.
had several months ago, and we can't quite ever seem to settle on one thing.
Like human services, we heard
I'd
from
like to
them.
make a motion just to leave it and just leave it the way it is.
There's a motion on the floor. Let's be clear about what that
With
is.
5. You don't go anywhere.
Can we clarify what the current motion is?
Current motion is to change the ordinance to, instead of extending terms from 2 3-year terms to 3 4-year terms, that we go to 2 4-year terms instead.
Did that include
It includes all boards and commissions.
not a carve out for operating companies?
It does not.
Okay.
That's not what the motion includes.
But that was the staff recommendation, if I recall, right? That we carve out.
Carve out was to bring Mr. Masuda along.
We did uniformly agree. I don't want to. I'm hesitant to muddy the waters here, but we did uniformly agree to carve out altogether the Parking Place Commission.
Yes.
Because they are nearly impossible to get people to serve on, and they're very
I-
particular constituencies, so
I-
we would leave that carve out in place.
Good point.
They're currently excluded in the proposed.
Okay.
Yes,
and we-
I didn't mean to suggest
Great,
changing
thank
that.
you. Then I am on board.
If there's any further comments or questions, why don't we go
Can I
ahead?
just make a clarification
Yes,
comment?
please.
This is Dean O'Connell, Assistant City Attorney. Currently, the Rose Bowl Operating Committee has 3 4-year terms, so they will be going backwards in this
Okay.
effort.
Does that change the maker of the motion's position?
It does. I was not aware of that. That is helpful to know.
I
So
don't know if
I'm-
our staff is aware of that either.
They're aware.
No, I'm saying our staff members who send letters to the commissioners.
You're talking about Jonna Stewart?
I'm
Not to
calling
put her,
out
not
anybody's
put
name.
put her on names, but
No,
she is on top of it. Like, if there's one person that is on top of it and reads the ordinances carefully, it's Jonna Stewart. That's why I'm willing
That's
to.
100%, but
That's why
I
I'm-
will just say that I've had commissioners that have served 2 terms, and I was told that their time was up, and that was on an operating commission, the RBOC to be exact.
Well, that's a separate issue we can sort out
So, yeah.
offline. But
Right.
Councilmember Cole, did you want to revise your motion?
Well,
or?
with the permission of my second, we will not change the RBOC from what it currently is.
Okay.
So that what you're saying, it would be for the operating companies, or just RBOC?
Well,
Operating companies.
RBOC is the one that's the exception.
The PCOC should be as well.
All right, fine.
And I'm not saying it because
No,
it is
it's
really
all-
hard to get
Yeah,
business
but
owners,
We'll just say the operating companies.
operating companies.
So-
That's fair. PCAs.
RBOC, PCOC, and PCAC.
And that's
There are
3 4-year terms.
Yes.
No, that's leaving it the way it is.
Okay.
Leaving it the way it is, right?
Is it 3 4-year terms or 3 3-year terms now?
In the RBOC has 3 4-year terms.
Okay, so that's what we're saying, was
Okay.
leave it the way it is.
Okay.
So no changes to the operating companies.
To the operating
Mm-hmm.
companies.
And it
They'll
sounds
stay
like
in historical, the way it's been historically.
following this motion, this will come back for a first reading next week with the corrected language. Is that correct?
Yes, if we figure out what that is. I don't think any one person is that.
So
The
it's
city
the
attorney.
staff recommendation, except that it's 2 4-year terms instead of 3 4-year terms.
We'd have to ask Alex Hernandez, do you recall what the original, was there an original staff recommendation?
Well, the one that's in front of us tonight.
Well, no, this
That's the
was
one.
what the council directed.
I don't remember the
There
original.
wasn't a
We
staff
took so many
recommendation
versions.
for tonight. This was the council direction.
Well,
from
I'm using
December.
shorthand. What's before us tonight, if you're watching this at home, it's what's before us tonight,
Okay.
except that it's 2 4-year instead of 3 4-year?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, for the commissions.
So I was just clarifying it wasn't a staff
No,
recommendation.
but it's not just for the commissions, it's, everything else in there is the same, because it covers that, right? I think, the operating companies and the like.
I'm sorry? The ordinance fact sheet references the ordinance that's proposed, that was directed by the council. It addresses the commissions, the committees, the operating companies, and boards. Has different requirements for the parking commissions. It has different requirements for members of the operating companies such as PCOC that have representatives that are from the business district, different requirements for RBOC members that are representative of their entities. For instance, the Tournament of Roses, it doesn't apply to their representatives. It just applies to the ones that are nominated by the city council.
And that's not changing.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
The time is changing for all except the operating companies, and that would be for 2 4-year terms.
Mhm.
In this, that's
That
already
stays the same.
already in the proposed.
Okay. Can we vote on the motion? Are there any objections to the motion?
I object.
Okay, one objection?
Two object.
Two objections? Is there public comment?
No, we already
We did.
Yeah, you already.
Actually, no, we don't have public comment on this one.
Okay, no public comment. So with 2 objections, that motion passes.
Yes, 5 in favor, 2 against, 1 absent.
So it'll come for a first reading next week with that language.
Yes.
Okay. And thank you to the continued discussion. Feels like we'll never quite satisfy everyone, and we can adjust in the future as necessary. But thank you to staff for following the circle that we keep going around in.
And we're going to go to the last ordinance, number 20.
Anybody?
I'm going to, maybe we get this one.
And I thought I had a change, but I talked to city attorney and I don't, so we're good.
This is an ordinance of the City of Pasadena amending Title IX, Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare by adding Article 14, Chapter 9.99, Sections 9.99.010 to 9.99.080 to the Pasadena Municipal Code relating to preserving city real property for city purposes. Offered by Councilmember Hampton. Roll call.
Yes.
Councilmember Cole?
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
Yes.
Mayor Gordo is absent. This ordinance has successfully conducted first reading.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on to item,
The fun one, which
which number was it?
we are back to 21.
21.
And this one's for me to do.
And before you kick it off, I just want to thank all of the applicants for hanging with us several nights now. I apologize for the late meetings and bringing you back second night or third night.
Well, they came for an appointment that was successful.
Right.
The council selected David Coher, and then they came back last meeting, which was a late night, and we deferred for a week, and so we're back tonight, but thank you.
So thank you for your patience.
And
And
Mr. Hampton's going to make his
Oh.
announcement.
yes, and we apologize for the delay, but we'll get to it just right now. Go ahead, Councilmember Hampton.
Due to my investment in the city of Pasadena, I will be recusing myself. In rental property. Sorry, my investment in rental property.
We got it.
Not weapons of mass destruction.
Your ethical investments, yeah. All right, go ahead, Mark, when you're ready.
9:31. Okay. I will roll through this quickly, if I can. Basically, the slide is just saying that there has been a number of vacancies. We've been doing a recruitment for PRHB since January, so there's been opportunities for a lot of applicants to put their names in for consideration. Reminder, there are 11 primary members, 7 tenant members, 4 at-large, 2 alternates. Currently, there are 2 vacancies remaining on the PRHB, 1 at-large member and 1 alternate tenant member. Applicants have to fulfill certain requirements. They have to show proof of residency. They have to obtain signatures of residents in their district supporting their application. They have to submit a Form 700, and and their application has a number of verifications and affidavits signed under penalty of perjury. At-large members may reside in any district of Pasadena, may or may not be tenants, and may or may not have a material interest in rental property. We did mention to each applicant who was going for an at-large position that due to state conflict of interest laws, property owners with a prescribed financial interest in 4 or more rental units may, underline, not be able to participate, and 4 or more rental units in the city of Pasadena may not be able to participate in all matters that come before the board due to state conflicts. So for the alternate tenant members, there are additional eligibility requirements. They may for an alternate tenant member, they also may reside in any council district, so we're not bound by council district, but they can have no material interest in rental property at the time of their appointment or at any later time during service on the PRHB. And that goes for the tenant member, the alternate tenant member, and any extended family members. They may not have owned, managed, or had a 5% or greater ownership stake in rental units in the previous 3 years as well.
So as I talked about, City Clerk's Office issued 27 applications during the recent vacancy solicitation periods. A total of 15 applications were submitted and verified as eligible, and we now have 8 remaining. That takes into account some appointments that we made, and then there were 4 applicants that have withdrawn since this period started, or since we've verified them as eligible. So what I'd ask is, following the City Council's review of the 8 applicants, and we provided you their applications in the staff report, that you report out your ranked choices that you deem most qualified to serve as an at-large seat. And then once we've done with the at-large seat, we'll move on to the alternate tenant member seat, because they can only be tenant members. They have to be one of the, there's 4 of the 8 that are tenant eligible for consideration. We'll tally the rankings, and then the rankings are just a consensus building tool. Applicants that with the most votes are not entitled to the vacant seat, but the council can appoint them, and the council can ask questions with the applicants. We can take public comment, and then we can vote on a motion for the at-large, and then vote on a motion for the alternate tenant member. So on the screen right now are the 8 applicants. All of them are eligible for the at-large. And then now on the screen are the 4 applicants, and you can see under the tenant column, they're either CD2, CD4, or CD6 tenant. They live within those districts. But they are all eligible for the alternate tenant member. And so once you've come to consensus, this will be the motion with the 2 selected members, applicants.
So they don't apply for one or the other, they just apply?
They can. A lot of them were applying for an at-large. Some of them were applying for an open tenant seat, and some of them were just applying for the at-large, because anybody can apply for an at-large. They can be a person who owns rental property, or they could be a tenant member, because the at-large doesn't specify.
They could apply to 1 or 2, depending on what they're qualified for, depending on whether or not.
But if you're a tenant, then under this system, you have a greater likelihood of being appointed, because you can apply to both pools.
Right.
Yeah. And that's built into the charter? Okay.
You can be eligible. Any of the applicants, as long as they live in the city, they get the 25 signatures and they complete the application. Any applicant would be eligible for an at-large position. Only tenant members will be eligible for tenant positions, and as only those within that specific district. If it's
Are we required to do it the way you've laid out, respectfully, or could we appoint the tenant member for the alternate tenant?
You could do that
first. Okay.
Yeah, we could do that. Sorry, I didn't mean to box you in on that. We do have speaker cards on this, and 5 of the 8 members are here or online. I should note that because of last week, some of them had stayed late, so I encouraged them. Actually, there's more now in the queue. I encouraged some of them to maybe participate virtually, so that we were unsure at what time you guys were going to take up this matter. So if they're not here, don't hold that against them. I kind of encourage them if they wanted to. That was a legitimate option. Some are here though. I see 4. Sorry.
Why don't we start with public comment then, so we can hear from all the applicants, unless there's any questions from.
Well, is there anyone that's neither here nor virtually participating?
There's a couple. Hold on, I'll tell you.
Are those like excused absences? Did they have because of the rescheduling, or have you heard from them?
And also, some of them spoke to us during our most recent appointment. So, I mean.
So they thought they didn't need to be here tonight?
We called them and emailed them to let them know that it was going to be back on the agenda, but with the idea that it wasn't time specific. Desalina Avila is not here. And Erica Munoz is not here.
Or
or online?
But everyone else is.
Everyone else is.
Okay.
Should we go to
Yes.
public comment?
Thank you.
Alicia Farmer. 2 minutes. Is that? I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds left.
Good evening and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me again. I just want to introduce myself so that I know I've sent out emails to each of the council members each week reminding you of who I am and of my skills and my history. So I just wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to let you put a name to the emails, a face to the emails, basically. Okay, so I'm not going to take up much time because I know you've had a chance to read at least over the last couple of weeks because I've been here the last this is the third week. So each week I took the opportunity to remind you of who I am so that it wouldn't get messed up in your brains. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Alicia is seeking the at-large position.
At large, yes. Thank you.
When you come to speak, you maybe mention that. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That was me. I should have said something.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Brenda Lyon, followed by Richard Sterrett. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know you started the timer.
I
I had Star Wars things from last week, but I will bypass that for May the 4th. Good evening. I'm proud to be back in these chambers, Madam City Attorney, Vice Mayor. Coming off Mother's Day, I was reflecting today on all the things I cared about so passionately this last decade and how those things are amplified now to make a better future for my 2-year-old. So what contribution can I make to this community that's important to me right now? So for me, that path seems to be where someone gets to rest their head at night and that their money can help them live. I have had quite a variety of jobs. I've worked in law firms. I've looked over multitudes of legal documents. I have managed offices, financials, tax filings. I've balanced budgets. I spent 10 years working for a world-renowned trauma therapist. She spoke 7 languages. So I have seen and heard deep pain across cultures and can be a balanced listening ear. In my years in property management work, I've studied market analysis for multiple units in single-family homes. I've seen just cause eviction protections, reviewed leases, utilities, vendors, property turnover, security deposit return disputes. 15 years ago, my rental unit was removed from the rental market via the Ellis Act, and it was demolished. Our 90-year-old landlord had the dream when he came to America to buy property so that his children would have money for the future. So for me, just to kind of sum it up, I'm very passionate about this position because I do believe that a landlord has a return on their investment, that's important. But a majority of my signatures were by landlords. So for me, I want to be a peaceful listening ear for landlords and for tenants because I have a passion for landlords as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Brenda is eligible for the at-large
yes.
and for the alternate tenant position.
Yes, both.
Okay.
Mr. Sterrett, followed by Simon Gibbons, then Dennis Jebbia, who's actually not an applicant, just going to speak on public comment.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Richard Sterrett, and I have been a property owner of multifamily, single-family rental, and other commercial property. I've been a commercial real estate broker for over 25 years. I've been on several boards, including the Board of Governors for the Rose Institute of State and Local Government at Claremont McKenna College. I'm a graduate of the Davenport Institute for Civic Engagement from Pepperdine. And I'm a veteran. And to reiterate what you just said, landlords are investing in property and expecting a return. tenants need a place to stay. One thing that comes through all the time is that people don't understand is it's very expensive to re-tenant a property. It's always better to try to keep that existing tenant. And I've done this over and over and over again. Thank you for your consideration, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. Sterrett's both
Yes.
buckets. Okay.
He's eligible for both. Simon Gibbons.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I'm not eligible for the tenant post, but I am standing for the at-large one. Thanks for seeing me yet again. I think you know more or less who I am. The things I'm interested in are making sure that we work effectively within the constraints of Measure H, that rules are followed, and that we do a really good job of starting to publicize what those rules are. We're seeing some problems with that. I also want to make sure that within the board, I can start to take a closer look at some of the financials, which I think you've heard over the last 3 years are sometimes hard to follow and not entirely structured. So that's what I'd bring from my career in business and over my last years as a landlord. I hope I'll also bring some of the expertise from some 30 years ago, my first career where I did work for a national government, not this one, but a different government. So I hope that I can bring a little bit of expertise around how we work within these processes. Thank you again, and thanks to Mark and his team who have been keeping us very well informed as to how to make our presence known. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll call Dennis Jebbia, who's not an applicant but is here for public comment.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. I trust that all of you are going to make a very good decision. I just wanted to state that we shouldn't, this is not a tenant versus housing provider, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative issue. It's an experience issue, and it's an efficiency issue. And let me give you an example. One of the questions that came up, which is in Measure H, by the way, approved by the voters, Section 1806B, was an establishment of an escrow account for relocation fees, and also an establishment of an escrow account for downward adjustments in rents. The Pasadena Rental Housing Board discussed this for, I would say, at least 3 hours. And the questions were, what is an escrow account? What does it do? The final decision was we couldn't find an escrow officer that would handle this case, this type of case. We called several people, and none of them said that they would be interested. I called one person, and the escrow officer said, I would love to do this. I've done it for the city of Pasadena, Los Angeles. So we need someone experienced in these kind of matters. And it was brought up also at the Pasadena Rental Housing Board meetings that there was a tenant that agreed to a relocation fee with a landlord, and the tenant turned over the key, and the landlord refused to pay the rest of the relocation fees. If we had an escrow account, which is provided for in
Mr.
Measure
Jebbia,
H,
your time has expired.
thank you.
Thank you.
It would have been okay.
Emmanuel.
Hello, Vice Mayor and Council again. Yes, my name is Emmanuel Najera. I am a member of the Pasadena Rental Housing Board. I just came here to speak up because after the last two resignations, kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Mainly because we went through a lot of things internally in the board, but I just want to point out, we do our best on the board. We want I want the board fully staffed, so I'm kind of happy we're finally going to get all 13 members. But one thing that I want to point out is that the alternate tenant member and the alternate at-large member could not participate in the hearings. Even though you guys won't be part of it, part of the participation, you guys are very, very still needed there because sometimes other members, full-time members won't be there. So I want to point that out. Unfortunately, the way the charter is written, the alternates are kind of could be viewed as second-class citizens, but no, we still need you. There's a lot of vacancies, a lot of absence at these meetings, so do not feel like that. And I really appreciate you guys find someone who's willing to fill the alternate tenant member and take it seriously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake Boyd, because you're out of breath.
Excuse me, I sprinted through the parking lot. Thank you all for hearing our public comments, and thank you all for your service. We do appreciate you. I really believe that if half the people hate you, half the people love you, you're doing a good job. And it's a thankless task, and we appreciate you all. Pasadena Housing Providers, a group that I co-founded several years ago, commissioned a survey, spent $70,000 with a political polling company called FM3. The results were pretty interesting. 82% of the respondents, and I believe one of you may have even taken the survey, I heard, maybe others. 82% of the respondents, Pasadena registered voters, said, we favor or strongly favor a balanced rent board, equal number of tenants and landlords. Well, the law, the current charter, does not allow for that balance. By law, it has to be 4 at-large members who could be landlords and then 7 tenant members. So this is what we have right now. So what I'm asking you all to please consider all 4 at-large seats, definitely the one tonight, be a real landlord. Not someone who had experience in the industry, but someone who really understands it. And I quote our friend Arnie Siegel. Arnie Siegel, a wonderful public servant. I don't know anybody that doesn't like him. He's a tenured law professor. And Arnie, when he was on the board in 2023, made a comment, made a quote, and this is paraphrasing a little bit. He said, I'm not a real landlord. I inherited a house through my wife's parents that we rent out in Santa Monica. I don't know all this landlord stuff. I think we should listen to what Mr. Siegel said. And if someone like that says he doesn't quite understand it, I think it behooves us to point some people that really do. And we only have the opportunity for 4, and I would really appreciate your consideration of pointing.
Mr. Boyd, your time has expired.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rosa Leiva is virtual, then Claudia De Anda, then Desalina Avila, and then Allison Henry. Those are the last 4 speakers. So first is Rosa Leiva. Rosa, are you there?
Yes, hi, can you guys hear me?
We can. You have 2 minutes. I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds. And Rosa is eligible for both the at-large and for the tenant, alternate tenant seat. Go ahead, Rosa.
Correct. Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Rosa Leiva, and I'm glad to speak with you today regarding the alternative tenant position for the Pasadena Rental Housing Board. Pasadena isn't just where I live, it's my home, and this is all I know. As a lifelong resident, my understanding of housing stability is deeply personal. It showed me how quickly housing security can vanish, but also how vital it is to have a strong supportive system in place to protect our community. Today, as I raise my own daughters here, I am reminded daily that secure home is the absolute foundation for a family success. I'm seeking this appointment because I want to bring my professional expertise to the table to support the stability. My career is rooted in compliance and auditing. Every day I analyze complex data, track organizational productivity, and draft highly technical reports. I bring an analytical eye and strict commitment to fairness and transparency. My skills are essential when renewing rental regulation and navigating nuisance between tenant and landlord issues. Furthermore, I believe in doing the homework before stepping into the role. I have actively invested my time to understand the Pasadena Rental Board and build a strong foundation and gain knowledge of our housing departments and what we currently face and our challenges. I am looking forward for this opportunity, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rosa.
You're welcome.
And then Claudia De Anda, and then Desalina Avila, and then Allison Henry will be the last public comment. Claudia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. 2 minutes. Go ahead. I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds. And Claudia is eligible for both the at-large and the alternate tenant member. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council.
My name is Claudia Leanda, and I speak today to express my interest and qualifications for the at-large or alternate tenant position vacancy. I'm an administrative professional with 10 plus years of experience in the public sectors with an aptitude to analyze and disseminate information and guide operational decisions. In my current role as the administrative audit and compliance professional for a research institution, I developed a deep understanding for nuances attached to federally funded operations, as well as the importance of strong governance and policy frameworks. These experiences have provided me a steadfast understanding of risk assessment and mitigation, governance structure, and collaborative culture. With extensive experience spanning public education, physical and mental health services, auditing, and compliance oversight, I bring a strong commitment to integrity, collaboration, and continuous process improvement. I'm confident my professional experience will further diversify and complement the qualifications in the Standing PRHB Commission, supporting the application, powers, and duties under the City Charter Article 18. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, can I just ask Ms. Deanda a question? Because on her application, she lists 2 different addresses. One of them's in my district, one of them's in District 2. I think it's probably just a typo, but is she still with us?
She is.
Yeah,
Ms. Deanda, do you live on? Because you did list in 2 different places that you lived on.
Oh, I apologize for that. That must be an administrative mistake. I can fix that if
No worries.
necessary.
No, you've already corrected it. Are you a neighbor of Mr. Gibbons?
Mr. Gibbons, that sounds familiar,
Don't know
but I
him?
can't
You
confirm
don't-
or deny for sure.
You don't know Mr. Gibbons? Ma'am?
Did you hear the question?
I can't recall. I did, but I can't.
know.
No, I just said
Right.
you don't know Mr. Gibbons?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And then Desalina Avila. Desalina is
Hi.
Hi, Desalina, and Desalina is an at-large only applicant. Go ahead, Desalina.
Correct. Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I've been in Pasadena for the past 20 plus years. The past 25 plus years of my career have been in home ownership and sustainable home ownership, the importance of that and how that really matters to growing strong communities and families. I've worked for the top 3 large banks. I'm also a property owner of 4 units in LA for the past 20 years. So I do have the experience of being on the ground, choosing my tenants, working through hard times, COVID, with my tenants. I understand that things happen, but I'm, I also have to, put myself and my family's needs first as a small single woman property owner. But I strongly believe in, safe, clean, sustainable housing that plays by the rules and has a strong, strong foundation. So I'm happy to serve. I've been a volunteer at Humane Society, Pasadena Little League, and Meals for Wheels. And I live in Councilman Masuda's area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And then the last public comment speaker is Allison Henry, who I believe is the chair of the board. Allison, are you there? Is she in? She's in. She's muted. Allison, you're muted. Are you there? She's unmuted, but we can't hear her. Maybe take her out and put her back in.
Oh,
again.
can you hear me now?
Now we got you. There you go.
All right, apologies.
That's okay. Go ahead. 2 minutes.
All right, good evening, council and members of the public. Council members, thank you so much for taking this item up this evening. I just want to echo my fellow board member Nahara's comments that we need the board fully staffed. My name is Allison Henry. I'm the District 3 tenant person now, but I'm also the current chair. And I'd also just want to thank all the applicants for applying for these positions. It takes a lot to put yourself out there. And I just want to welcome our future board members to the board. Our first meeting with you on board will be May 21st. And please reach out to me with any questions before then. Thank you again.
Thank you. And that completes public comment.
All right, I believe that brings us to our essentially ranked choice voting,
Yes.
which is we are not bound by, but is just a quick way to see if there's consensus.
Yes.
Yes, Councilmember Cool.
I am prepared to make a motion to appoint Alicia Farmer to the at-large seat and Brenda Lyon to the tenant alternate seat, if there is support for that.
I would support that motion.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none.
And Brenda Lyon to that.
I will take a moment to say that I appreciate, and we all appreciate everyone who's applied. Everyone is incredibly well prepared and would serve well on the board. So I just want to thank everyone for stepping up to serve. Councilor Madison, did you have something? You look like you're ready
I just
to
think,
chime in.
and I don't know him, I don't think, but Mr. Stera seems so well qualified. But if there's a consensus of those candidates that apparently others have vetted more thoroughly than I have, that I'll support the motion.
Yeah, if there are no other comments or questions, are there any objections to the motion? Seeing none, those new board members are approved. Congratulations.
Good choices.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I believe that is the last item on our agenda.
That is, we are done with our agenda.
Okay. Thank you all, and have a good night.
We are
We are adjourned.
10:01.
10:01.